のロマンティックディナー。
Welcome to the PUBG Players Tour. This year, we're introducing structured competitive play in third-person perspective mode for players of all ranks, levels, and ability. Here's how it works in EMEA and Americas. PUBG Players Tour competition is held in 2-week phases. Each week, you and your squad can compete in player scrims. Think of these as a great alternative to ranked play. Each day of scrims will feature a variety of maps, with defined team and lobby sizes to ensure a balanced best-of-3 rounds. Teams will earn points based on their performance, and daily leaderboards will track their progress. When the scrims are over, the top teams will qualify for the PUBG Players Tour Cups, where they will be joined by up to 10 invited teams, featuring some of the best players in the region. Players' Cup leaderboards will track team performances across 2 days of play, with the top 8 squads progressing to the final round of competition. Players Masters are the pinnacle of the PUBG Players Tournament. 8 teams from each of the 2 cups will engage in fierce competition for a huge prize pool in each region across the PUBG Players Tour season. And for times when a Players Masters isn't scheduled, you can still get your PUBG Players Tour fix with Super Cups. These work just like Masters events, where again, 16 teams, 8 from each of the 2 previous Players Cups, compete for a share of the total cash prize pool. Welcome to the PUBG Players Tour. You know the game. Be a player.
Good evening and welcome everybody to the second iteration of the PUBG Players Tour. We are here for the second cup tonight. I'm joined by the fantastic Mark Power. How are you doing, Mark?
I'm good, man. Good. I'm excited. I feel like I missed out last couple of weeks a bit of the action for the cup because we have already had 1 week, haven't we? So we need to find out who are the remaining players to go. So I'm excited for this one, man. I've been trying to grind out a little bit of TPP myself at the moment.
Oh, that's there's a real grind there. There's a real sort of switch that you have to make there. I've seen some players play it as well. We've seen some players warm up today in their streams for these games. It is something to get used to. We have a lot of fancy players tonight, but we have a bit of a different one from last time. I feel like the switch has been pretty clear in the teams that are playing tonight. A lot of new names.
This is the thing, right? And I think this is going to be a kind of a theme, isn't it, as we go through. The first set of invited teams, a lot of them obviously passed through, off they went. And then we had some more invited come back. But this time we've seen more teams come through, more names that we know, some new names coming through the mix as well. But I like this, especially when we see teams like the TMO, they just sort of scrape their way through to get in here. And then some fan favorites, mine, Will Die. I'd love to see these guys here. But TPP is very different to FPP. So I'm really interested to see how these two teams will break down this mode.
Big sort of variety in the teams we have, right? We have some teams like Grove Street and Redline that are the very few non-CIS teams that have made it through the qualifier. Almost every other roster, TMO is also from the EMEA region, but almost every other roster is from the CIS region. And then you have a Grove Street who did reasonably well in the recent PEC, so like 15th in Europe. That's, you know, no small feat.
Nope.
And then you have other big names like Redline who didn't do well at all. And then you have names that you haven't heard as much if you're only watching the big streams, right? We have a few teams in here with relatively new players to the scene, but they fought their way through the qualifiers. So I'm excited to see what they have in store for us tonight.
And this we've already seen some invited teams. We had teams already qualify through, so it's complete reset. Obviously, we've got best of 4 again today, and you're right. I've seen a few. There's been talking to a couple of players as well, just trying to get used to how this game unfolds, how it plays. And the key message I'm getting from a lot of these players is information. The ability to farm information is key sometimes, and not everyone's kind of got that down just yet. They're still trying to figure out what is the best algorithm, how to pick up the information, especially in the squad.
Especially because it's not just you have to not only think about how you're playing the game, right, but also how everybody else is playing the game. And whenever everybody else is using that camera, it makes it so much harder to spot people, right? It's so easy to scout while being in cover yourself. So when you're scouting somebody else, you might both just be hidden, and you might both not get the information that you're really wanting from that. So big changes there, but honestly, I was quite happy last week, or last time around, I should say, to see how we still saw a lot of the familiar faces doing well, and we still saw that basically it's still kind of the same. It's a little different, but it really has a just 90% correlation with FPP PUBG, right?
Is that because you're putting it down to the names you've seen qualify through, guy? Come on.
I mean, look at these names. Were you surprised by any of them?
No. They played well, number one. But and again, I think it's the reps, isn't it? These teams, these players, yes, there is a big difference between the FPP and TPP world, but these are the guys that are putting a lot of reps, right? So out of everyone, you'd expect them to be able to switch over pretty clear. The likes of VP, Navi, Twisted Minds doing really well. GK topping it as well when it comes down to PEC. BB and GG on the grind. Slam done well. Foot Esports sneaked their way through, but arguably it's good. And do you know what I really like about this format as well? I know there's a big esports, and this is the gateway. This is the gateway for people trying to level themselves up, right? But obviously, if they're not getting through in the big FPP events, they got the opportunities to come through. Now, if they haven't actually got through as an invited team, as you can see here, we've done the week 2, the player scrims. We've done best of 3, best of 3, best of 3, best of 3, and the scrim leaderboard. You have to find yourself at the top, depending on how many invited teams. You'll be obviously invited through to where we are now, the Player Cup. That bottom box, we're doing a best of 8, and this is where the cash prizes are. So if people are not attending the big events, and they haven't made it, they haven't qualified, Koho, this is an opportunity for them to get some money at this stage, but also if they get through on the next 2 stages.
Yeah, this is one of the bigger things, right? Is yes, we're playing a tournament today with cash prizes, or there is a chance there, but you are qualifying to the Masters Series if you get top 8 tonight, and that's a $20,000 prize pool compared to a $1,000 prize pool tonight, right? So that's a big step up, and that's what everybody's going to be aiming for. That top 8 is going to be sacred. So we're going to see some teams who will enter that last game fighting for first place, but we'll see a ton of teams in the lobby that are looking for that 8th place, looking to make their way on in there. And that's going to be the big
right. And for those, again, just to remind, swap people in and out, it's about getting up that leaderboard in the scrims. And the best way I explain it to people is that this is the gateway. Like if you play your ranked, you play your normal, but you want to be in a chance to maybe win some money, well, get together with your mates, sign up on Challenger mode, make sure you go through and get to this stage here, and then see what you can do against the invited teams. If you're good enough, you'll be able to make your way through to the next stage.
Yeah, and if you struggle on the first stage, because there's all these massive names in the lobby, European winners, world championship contenders, the second one is always going to be a little easier, right? We're taking the top 8 out of the first one, so the second one's going to be a little easier to qualify to. Because right now, today, for example, we have 13 teams who qualified, and then 2 of the invited teams, Ascend and Eternal Fire, they really didn't have a great time last week. We see it on the leaderboard here. We had the 8 teams qualifying on the left, and then Bushido playing again tonight, Ascend and Eternal Fire. Neither of them really popped off last week. Neither of them should be names that you're super scared of right now if you're one of these qualifier teams.
And you got to think as well, we've got Ascend, Eternal Fire, as you mentioned. They didn't do as well. I don't think they got into the momentum on the first day, the best of 4. So it kind of obviously resulted in a little bit of a chase in the pack. I'd be really interested to see, especially for me, Ascend, Eternal Fire, 100 ADR qualifying for again, actually how they reset, how they've taken the first week and they come back into this now. Can they kind of correct the faults? For me, it was all about placement. You can see it on the leaderboard here. They just weren't getting to those final circles. Now we've got some of the big guns out there. Maybe actually it's about, do you know what? We can kind of play the game that we want to play. We can kind of flex our way into these late games. So I'm interested to see. I know they're the names that we know, Cora. I know they're the big shining lights, right? Yeah. But I'm kind of interested to see if they're going to get those placement points because they're back in the kills. They just need to get into that top 8.
Yeah, I mean, especially Eternal Fire there, right? 2 placement points. That's really, really rough for them in 8 games. That's not something they're going to be happy about. And I think all the names that we mentioned here, like an Ascend as well, they haven't Ascend and Eternal Fire. They've been sort of getting beaten up a little bit on the international stage recently, or on the European stage, EMEA tournaments. They would love a bit of a success here. While the teams who qualified, they're a little bit more sort of pressure free, right? They had to fight their way in here. They feel like they deserve to be here. They don't have to prove it to anyone anymore. But the big dogs, the big names in the lobby, they really kind of need a success at this point.
Yeah, and again, going back to my point before, if they're not making it on the big esports circuit, right? They're not making it there. Then these are the events that they can kind of top up that prize pool, make sure they're getting money through the back door and resetting themselves ready for the big events later on in the year. But obviously, they've passed. They haven't punched their ticket. They're not going to the land. So their focal point now, which they're going to be really interested, is going to be these. Can they get through to the Masters? Can they get through to the Super Cups and reset these player cups every single time? Because there's going to be opportunities for them to make money. I think that's going to be key. So I'm looking forward to it. I said there's no bigger names in the lobby, so I wouldn't mind them flexing their muscles, spreading their wings out a bit more and claiming that space because they need to get placement points.
Yeah. And like you said, this is sort of this is filling in all the gaps in the esports schedule, right? So if you've missed out on the mega big tournaments, you get to play these to keep yourself warm, to have something to fight for. And that's exactly what we're doing tonight. 4 maps tonight, 4 maps tomorrow. And we are starting with the first map in just a few seconds. I'm hyped. I'm ready to see what these teams have in store for us, Mark. What do you think?
It's time. It's Miramar. Yes. I really like Best of 4. Why? Because it's aggressive. It's quick. And obviously, we get it underneath the belt. And I also really like that we only get to play one of the maps each time. So we got 1 Miramar, 1 Taego, 1 Rondo, and 1 Erangel. I really like that. If you mess up on one, that's it. Done for day number 1. You're going to have an opportunity tomorrow. But you've got to maximize all your points.
Yeah, you can't really be missing out on any of your chances. You will maybe be able to miss out on 1 game or 2 that you don't play super well in a best of 8. But if you want to win the tournament, you've got to play at least 6 or 7 good games here. It's short, it's snappy, and it's not a format where you can drop a lot of rounds, which can be good if you get the momentum going early, but it can be quite punishing if you're starting off slow. So momentum was a big thing, especially when the day is over before you even blink. We know this. We're so used to 6 games a day now that 4 games just feel super fast. And it's the same for the players as well. Especially if they get into some of these late games, then 4 games, they will just fly past.
I think that's the key. Obviously, playing part for this one was northeast down towards the south central. Does favour that east side of the map. So we've seen some early drops already, kind of like TMO's position. Love the win or die placement. They used to play San Martin, but obviously they've teased their way back over towards that kind of hacienda and the surrounding compounds. Send normal drops for them. It's not too bad in a neighbour, but there doesn't matter if they went early. They've got a lot of rotating to do. Zone pops, and it's down in the south.
It's down in the south, and that's where we see a bit of early action kickoffs. Zico already taking some damage, but then we also have 2 teams around the church area. So that's a little bit of a contested space. Redline, they wanted to go for Picado here, but they do realize, oh, there's another team here. We're going to back off. We're going to let them do what they want to do with it. But you can see that on the map right now. Not a ton of space there for Redline to loot. They got to be a little careful. They got to be a little wary of what's going on, as more teams around them than teams are in the circle right now, it feels like.
Yeah, and it's going to be difficult for some of these entry points, right? Especially if you're if you want to come a bit later on the zone, you might find that north side potentially contested out. Expectations, I think people will try and play down towards the south, try and take some of the higher ground earlier on, but you don't really want to get an early fight here. For me, maybe an E-rotate, or maybe play the safer routing, go really wide, go to the east, go to the west, rotate your way around. Valdemar would be amazing. Obviously, you can pop in that sort of bottom side of the map and then work your way back up. Claim the high ground, especially in that southwest corner, and work your way back in.
Yeah, it's the Miramar. It's the Miramar theme. It's quite often easier to go west to east than it is to go north to south. And a lot of teams will have to make big moves from the north to the south here. So definitely agree with that. We also see some early moves already coming out by some teams that are in the circle. It's just something we've seen in all PUBG tournaments recently. Teams sending that one player super early to go for a center spot. We saw it we've followed Lou in for quite a while. And then he ends up dying to VP in the center compound because they beat him to it. Similar things could be happening here. As Lutic scouting that out for ADR, but there is a player from Dope, or without Dope, already ready and waiting for them. But it's not just one cruising on into a whole team. He's got to be careful. And I think he's heard the 2 cars and he's already backing off, but he didn't even have to. That compound would have been his if he just stayed.
Yeah, he could have held that. I think it's one of these high-risk locations, though, right? You hit here, you can see the cars rotating in by church, and obviously you can pick up the shots. Obviously, you're going to get the information moving out from Lost, but it's so high up, it's so north. Yes, we've got some water. Yes, it's going to bounce back, but these first couple of zones, because they're random, we might see it play back south, and you might gain a few kills here and there, but you might find yourself locked out a bit later. Wild Division, well, one of these teams already clawing their way in, and actually do find information gained, but information gained. Oh, there's a kill already on the board. That's win or die. And the first point. We're down to 63 players now. Win or die. Back the first one underneath their belt.
Classic sort of power grid area. Lots of people go there to scout, and then you can find yourself getting punished on the other end of it. Wild Division, wow. And without Dope, close together. Redline trying to benefit off that fight. Armor, he doesn't have a whole lot of bullets left here, Mark. He's got to be a little bit careful about what he does with this. Ooh, pops off a few, but decides to reposition here. This area is heating up quickly, as everybody, like we said, has to traverse to some very few choke points on this map. And this is one of them.
It's difficult. Again, you're so surprised. It's that risk, right? They obviously scrabbled south as quick as they could. He hasn't picked up all the information. Back towards the top side, ascend. Coming out on the outside of water treatment. Oh, they've caught a few, but initial shots come back from Kidikai. He's going to force maybe a little bit of reset here. He's going to pop the smoke. That's going to stop the initial player taking shots back towards him. Payne's repositions himself out to the other side. That's kind of joysticking the remainder of the team away from them, but this is so far out. Yes, it's phase 1, but get a kill, get moving, and ensure you don't lose a player this early on.
That's the main thing. They don't want to lose a player. Now it's looking like Brex might be getting pull up, though.
Whee!
Gets the first few shots. Can't connect enough for the knock just yet, but that's clean.
Yes, go.
God damn it. That is nice.
What was so nice about it as well is he waited. He had the discipline not just to pull the trigger, right? He waited, the car landed, got that initial spray off, waited for it to come back around the corner and finished it off. Really, really nice play from Brexto. Another kill underneath the belt, and actually this one's going for a send, so they will be happy. Chris obviously going to be gaining the information now that the guys have pulled up. Wouldn't be too surprised for him not to get rid of those tyres and kind of disable that vehicle, but it looks like they've already got one on the other side. So a little bit of a clown car, as we called it. They're moving out very much on that south side and away from set.
It's a nice little pickup early game. Bit of a loot injection, but also an early point is always nice, especially when the zone's so far away, right? You really just not sure if you're ever going to get a good position in the entire game. So locking the points in early is always super, super nice. Augiri now come in on that church area, realize it's taken, and realize, like, that's not a fight we want to be taking.
No way.
Again, Wild Division popping off the shots early, and again, they're not carrying a lot of bullets, this team.
What? 7's lighter, guys. You can get more in your pocket. 5 last time, and how have they not missed the spray there? That height advantage, the elevation, the verticality from that church. Could have been huge. Chewy launches more of that barrel spray. Didn't quite get the connection wanted. More noise than anything. But getting another player down, these guys are burning through bullets so quickly. I worry that they've maybe left quite a few behind.
Generally, we have been in agreement that utility is absolutely huge here, right? And utility should outweigh the need for bullets most of the time, but
still not
a lot of the players
though.
that are low on bullets here are not the ones hard carrying the util, right? We've seen Arma earlier with no 5-5, and now another player 0 nades but no bullets to reload. However, not the biggest deal in the early game. They should still have some time to pick up and share at least. And again, we've seen plenty of games here. If you've been watching the other regions, if you've been watching a bit of Korea, we've seen a DNF win 2 games today where they had no bullets left in the end. We even see a bit of a pan throw coming out to try and win a game because they just had no bullets left. So there's definitely some value to carrying all the other utility and all the other equipment. It's just weird to see it so early on in the game because they haven't been firing them off, right?
No. Just come back to your point, the utility, that's the biggest takeaway for me so far with TPP is actually it's so effective. So quite surprised we don't see the Wild with a wild amount of grenades in their back pocket, but not so far. Rest of these teams moving in. Trumbull obviously been taken up here by Win or Die with a part split for them. Rest of the team, TMO nearly clashing ways on the Porto. But they've obviously ducked in a bit further. Tunnel Fire now. Using that TPP to advantage, hoping, maybe praying. Cars come rolling over, but they haven't. This is where we kind of see these teams divide and conquer. Oh, but that's a great use. Sloy using that TPP to advantage. Sees their head, though, of Code, and puts him down pretty quickly and finished off with a nade. Great nade from Nabat. That there is what TPP is about. You can't drop the ball. You've got to be careful, especially when you're peeking your head over the top.
And just like that. That's how fast it goes. Code Marco out for the round. Grove Street, team we talked about a bit in the pre-show, done well for themselves recently. Now with a roster change, bringing in Kristalny under the name of Project Ike's left here. He's got high hopes for himself, it seems. They're picking up an early EP. They're going to see what they can do with that. But on the other side of things, a team that we thought would have to travel far have now traveled far and have found themselves right next to Win or Die.
Yeah, and Chewy's not far away either. Hopefully he's got a few more bullets in his back pocket. He might be able to get a knock here. Hello, back gets Pains down. He's knocked. Not confirmed just yet. The zone shifts away. That's horrible. Back towards Lost, down towards Resort. He means he's going to try and play up to kind of that fight we saw. Tunnel Fire might want to collapse into 3. The rest of the team's going to move way down. But this is kind of, again, that ensured destruction. Get a few kills, get moving. There is a time served. How long do you stay here? Or Send have to stay here until the team's in front of their move. Now he doesn't quite get the connection. Looking to try and get the res.
They want to get that res, they want to get that reset, but they don't want to give up position for it. You can see Keely, he's looking to see what comes their way. Win or Die, not the only team. The Wild Division looking in as well. Chewy's looking like he's walking up on something there. And this could get messy for all 3 teams here. Chewy actually running down the hillside, doesn't want to get too involved with the Win or Die squad at the top. This fight might take a whole while. Now a Sandstorm looking to be coming in makes this even more awkward. The drive coming out. Presenti's rolling over. It's an absolute mess for Wild Division. And just like that, Chewy, bye-bye. You can try again next round.
I love it. And that was all thanks to Chris. Chris forced him to the other side. He had to lay down and went down. Great spray. Does catch him. Presenti is down. Wild Division going to put a point on the board. That's 3. Soon to be 4. As they continue moving their way around. Hello, my bad. Unfortunately for Win or Die, I thought they felt they were the most southern team. But as a result, they found themselves in a bit of a sandwich between Wild Division. Chewy's all confirmed out. These guys are going to play as a 3, but 4 kills on the board. Phase number 2 is not bad.
It's not bad at all. 4 kills, 1 player lost. You take those generally. The only problem is they have a bad position to boot. So they got to get some moves on. The Winchester coming out. That's a juicy one. Hard to connect the shot. And look at that. Wow. You don't want to be peeking into that again. 58 HP. They've got a lot of repositioning to do. They're also looking to do the damage, looking to get the kills before they move. But Sleep Flick That's a bit of a tongue breaker. Is so on his own some. I don't think he can do much. Tro, on the other hand, he's putting down 2 and he's looking for more.
And man, there's 2. He's got the peak though. He's got the height advantage. That's going to be key. There's the third. Looking for the fourth, but third party action comes in. So I'm going to try and figure out how he goes. Now the Sen goes forward. The car will draw the guns their way. It's going to allow him a little bit more movement. But he's going to be careful getting that third party action. Anybody's going to try and finish it off, but no. It's a 3-pack. And we'll finish it off with a P90 and 80. Well, they fall. Early death for them. Phase number 2. And if TPP might be all your util usage, it is organized chaos at best.
That was a little messy early game here. Everybody's scrapping for these positions. I think it's the brutal circles that make everybody fight.
Yep.
Then, so good play from Shro there. Get himself some early points. Now Grove Street looking to do similar things to their Balkan brethren. 2 teams with players from similar regions. Looking to do the damage. Winner Die goes down on the other side of the map. Voxes realizes it's a little bit too much for him by himself. Cypher pops a few tires. That's all she wrote for this fight, I believe. Again, though, players going for early aggressions, trying to close out teams next to them. I love to see this. Taking the early fights while you can't get third-partied is a super powerful way to make sure the teams around you are weakened already. And that makes your late game so much easier.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're right, though. I think it's part and parcel of the zone. I think a lot of that big south shift, a lot of teams getting caught in that traffic. A few teams going a little bit earlier. They're able now to try and hold out. They're kind of activating now. Man, obviously, man, in a good spot. They're going to be able to hold out teams sort of pushing their way now as they are sitting on that kind of west pinnacle as the zone shifts back. So again, hold, wait. We know, obviously, because we can see there's no more teams coming in from the west. But once they've kind of checked that off, wouldn't be too surprised for them to maybe lock this zone down, wait it out a bit longer, pray for that zone to shift again towards the north. Now, I personally haven't had an actual resort ending. I don't know about yourself, but I see it always plays to the north of it very much. So I think they're going to be expecting them, trying to hope that it maybe pulls back towards the northwest. But Agent Chaos here would love to see resort ending.
Seen it end quite close to it, at least. I don't think I've seen it end
on the
inside,
outside,
but seen it being quite close to it. Players proning around the outside of resort, blue healing. We've seen all the shenanigans. We'll see what happens here today. But Ascend get an opening, and Ascend go for the push. A full breach. All of these cars are flying into the concrete instantly. Nate comes out. Inting has to be careful.
Oh,
it's Chris who takes him down. It's a disaster. But Paint is there for the rescue. Takes out another one of Without Dope and makes sure that they can get the IGL back on his feet.
So lucky. So lucky. Chris is getting told off right now. Then we got the final play. A little bit further in. It's Chris locked onto target. Unfortunately, the target became bricks as he goes down. There's that final player from Dope. And I think it is a thank you very much. We're going to try and maybe hide it out. Snake in the grass, so to speak. Centralized zone. We are going from phase 3 to phase 4. So lots of areas, lots of potential just to kind of put his head down low. And with that TPP game style, it's going to play to advantage. Careful, doesn't die by bike, but this won't be too bad. Lay down, be able to get great visibility around that sort of shack. Be very difficult for someone to push him clean, should we say.
Yeah. Tunnel Fire has a good idea, though. And they themselves might be looking for a bit of action. They lost Code Marker earlier, so they know that their late games aren't optimal as a 3-man. If they can figure out a way to maybe blue zone that and then get a molly or a nade on top, that could be a nice way for them to secure some points here. But you can see the owner is careful about this, waiting for a bit more backup. There's the blue zone. Do they have a second one? Looking like it. No, it's a flash to follow it up. The blue zone alone won't do the trick. The nade in front of the door won't either. If Recap just stays inside and heals, then none of this util will touch him, but he's outside the back, and the second nade finds him there. All played.
Good use, util.
Good use.
Good use.
100%.
Yeah. And you're right, like you'd expect maybe a second blue zone. Obviously, I didn't have it. Nade either side. Flash went through. Does eventually find him. Obviously, forced the rabbit out the hiding hole with the first one. Put him out to the back, and obviously that would have allowed. I think you're right. I think he maybe could have medded his way through in the shack. But he didn't do that.
Just expecting more util to come in, right? That's why he's going out, and that in the end is what costs him. So that can work. Sometimes they do call your bluff, and then maybe you've wasted a bit of util, but it works out nicely for them.
Oh, he didn't see it. He didn't see it. It's 2 down, 0. It's the final player for them. Tuxley needs to pick apart. Need to take isolated fights. Does get one of the nades. Be careful. Looking to find this res, but the third party action coming. Doesn't quite know exactly where it's coming from. Just nade forwards. Himself into cover. How he sees the player. He's not 100% comfortable here, 0. He needs to settle down a bit. Oh, unfortunately for him, that gets caught. Just for me, felt unsettled. Didn't quite know where the third party was coming in. Pushed forward, some initial shots, then pushing back the way he came. Maybe a bit of calm might have resulted. Ascend popping off. No, for a team that was one of the most furthest north, not the only one, but on 4 kills, 4 players. Chris able to save the day and pick up Brex, so they're now pushing forward, and they'll be definitely understanding the kill feed because 10 of Fire's down to a 3, 2 are knocked. They're looking to close this one out. Double blue zone nade comes around the corner. It's Chris playing the furthest field. He's going to be there. He's been spotted. It's Chris launches, swaps back over, cleans it out. Eternal Fire. Well, they lose the zone, they lose the compound, but they also lose the opportunity to play late game as a 3.
7 frags and counting for Ascend. That was looking nice. That was a very quick double knock from them. Completely catching Eternal Fire off guard. On the other side, Matt Nikativ going down to ADR. And Sleepflake, the last one up for his team. I don't think he's getting all too far. He has got to go into the field and hope and pray, but he's going into a whole lot of players on his way. Black Hive, first team on the scrim leaderboard this league. They've been popping off in the scrim sessions. They're looking to do it again today. Right now, it's just Vampire out on this eastern edge, or western edge, excuse me. But he should be okay here. The blue zone's helping him out quite a bit.
It is. He's going to fall, unfortunately. Lost the car. He's going to be able to get an idea. It's not quite understood. He's gone down towards zone, but he's double checking it. It's kind of that hold that sort of west side of zone, make sure no one else sneaks their way in, then they can move in. Brady are locked in the compound. They're going to be okay. There's lots of opportunities, but I don't know if they realised this 100 ADR players moved out. That could be a great net. Oh, a pinpoint accurate air burst. And there they go down. And man out. And 100 ADR. Well, great positioning, great nade.
Big frags coming in, big individual plays right now. Ascend have picked up another one on Shro here as well. Sort of rolling over everything in their path. Now they have Hoppage on the other side, who's got himself 3 gear and an arm. He's got to be one of the obstacles that will try and make Ascend trip. But for now, the push is looking strong, and I don't see any sort of support for him on the minimap. I don't see any of his teammates ready to help at all. It's Chris getting the util out, but I am wrong. There is a bit of fire coming in, a bit of suppressing fire from the rest of the squad, even through the smoke. They're trying to do their best of helping him, but he's still so isolated here, Mark.
This is difficult, though, isn't it? Because they're in the open terrain. I get the logic. I said, want to go get rid of him, right? Dangerous. You know the arm's there. You can hear it. You can feel it. But there's so much open terrain. There's a few dips and crevices. As Chris plays towards that, but then gets caught running back. He's down. Great shot. Down to 1. Has to take towards the dirt. A limited amount of time. Needs to get a medal now before that blue zone catches up with him. He still has a bit of run, but I do like Hands of Hope because they've got this little valley a bit further over. It's got a bit of a sprint there. It's between them and Ascend, who kind of gets there first, but I think it's all going to come down to third party action also. Yeah,
there is the third party. There is TMO looking to get involved. They've seen the fights. They've seen the knocks and the kill feed. They know they want to get into this. Brex on the other side falls to Hoppage. The arm rings true, but look at Justus there on the top floor. A matter of second till he peeks on out and takes out Sloyjacket. The prone is quick, but it doesn't matter. And just like that, the game is getting really rough here for Hands of Hope.
It is. There's not much hope left in these hands. 2 remain. TMO at one side, Ascend the other. As Chris is down, he was the kind of spearhead of the attack. So Ascend might be looking to play this one as a 3. Be too risky to go for that res. Hands of Hope obviously are split as well. So let's see what they can do. Kitty Kai's been spotted, looking for the heads, but no, Ascend get caught on that rotation in. They take 8th. That's placement point. We can argue this. They actually struggled with placement point last week. So they're starting off at least game number 1 well. And they bagged a huge amount of kills again from a very difficult area. Ascend constantly chasing the zone down. I think they'll take game number 1.
They'll take that. They had a bit of fun as well. It's always more fun to go out with 7 kills and a placement point than to go out with 6 placement points and no kills. It's got to be nice. Get a bit momentum. Feel like you're winning your fights. Always feels good to take out Eternal Fire as well. They've got a bit of a rivalry in the most recent tournaments. But
that was highlighted a few times, I must admit.
that was a bit of a topic. That's a mortar coming out. That's going towards ADR, I believe. Oh no, not sure where that's going. Not
oh
sure
my
where
god!
it's aimed at, but
we might get it. We might actually get it coming to resort. Obviously, it's unplayable in that south west, right? And there's an element on the very, very south that's now out. But maybe the player cup has given me what I've asked for, because it always goes just on the outside. It always plays north of it, north of where the letters are, or towards the east, or out to the crazy fields to the west. Oh my god, TPP and Resort, game number 1, week 2, bring it on. I know you're smiling inside, Psycho. I can feel it. You know this is going to be chaos.
it is chaos. It's Snake Paradise. Oh Satters is taken out absolutely by Project Isolate. He's been here for a while. Remember, we've seen him here 2 circles ago, 3 circles maybe even. They've consolidated into the main resort building. They're going to try and play that, try and hold that as red line is clear in the long barn. Tons and tons of spots here to hide out as a solo, but we don't even have that many solos left. It feels like we have plenty of big teams here. I think a duo is the smallest team we have at the moment, so not a whole lot of snaking going around, but still a ton of teams that you can trip over on your way to resort here. Pitch still has that arm, still has that 3 gear.
He does, and that might help. TMO playing this way, the myth off. They want to be the only myths remaining in the north side of the zone. It'd be difficult though if he does play into resort for them, because they might come all eyes onto them. And of hope, well, got a few ridges to play. I think that card's a little bit of a giveaway that someone might be lurking on that ridge. But for now, using the abilities that they have in the TPP. And don't forget, guys and girls, if you are watching, we are viewing as the player views. So obviously we can see now these guys are in TPP. The players are playing in TPP. This is not being done by production. Flash comes over. Great spray though. First one will go down. They've got to continue making the push. So second goes down, but it's from the adjacent side. This is going to be huge. The anchor hold for them. They're getting slightly stolen away, but it's going to continue trying to play forward. Third party action comes in. Nate comes through. It survives somehow, Koho, but it's a 2-on-2.
This is so rough for TMO. They didn't even know what they were cruising into. Now Sparta with good util, a good flash over the top, but the nade sends him right on back. He's fully out in the open. Hoppage is clean with it. And just like that, you don't have to give him more than 1 chance. You get him 1 peek, and he will nail it. Nedex out from the other side as well. TMO just like that. Absolutely just shattered. As ADR says hello, and they're looking to do the same thing now to Hands of Hope.
Yeah, they've played that really well. Gets in towards the smoke, plays around the adjacent side. One is down. It's down to the final player. Who's on nade goes just too far, but he's using the top of the smoke. He's trying to see the heads, the high elevation. That's a huge nade. No, he's not going to know the damage. The blue zone nade not too far behind him. But the blue zone itself, well, that's going to cause more damage. Somehow he gets in. He's been spotted. The nade comes over the top. He lines up, but no, 100 ADR. They scrabble their way out of this one. But again, on the other side, the grocery have left resort. They're playing as a 2-2. They went aggressive on this one as well.
Taking the kills where they can. Love to see that every single time. Red line wanting to clear out the buildings. They've got Marchell to deal with. Util might do the trick. He's robbing and weaving. He's dancing around the building, but it's not enough. Nailup finds him, cleans him out. And Red line take at least a bit of a corner of resort to themselves. It's not in the zone though. They have a big move to make still, Mark. And they have ADR just staring them down from the top as well.
Look at Seifu so far at the top. He's playing a huge amount. Oh, go back, Seifu. Don't play out this. Oh, he went greedy. He went for the crate. That's what's going to happen. Sorry, I'm crazy. Seifu, you got your hands caught in the cookie jar there, mates. Grocery trying to play out, trying to deal with MSJ, but they've already punched their number. 2 remain now. Molly goes over the top. They confirm. Project Axe left. But the damage has already been done. Grove Street coming into this zone for Miko was in such a stronger position, this top 4, but they've given it away so freely.
Yeah, it's a fumble for sure, especially when they've been so calm and collected, so patient for such a long time, and then they just lose their temper completely. Saifu running out, maybe for a third party, maybe for a drop, instantly caught, and then Kristalny as well. so fast. They're down to 2. Redline hears this, take resort from them on the other side as well. So now they're even outmanned in their own compound. Not what they would have wanted.
They went for that 2-2, didn't they? Safety obviously was up there. I think that might have been the drop they got, but for me, irrelevant at that, even the play back, he tried to push back down to resort. He would have done more damage sitting up on the hill as these guys will try to work their way around on this east. Go see undecided. Now they are definitely unmanned. Util reset. Res has happened here for MSJ. Nade comes in off the backboard. Bags himself for 3 points up with that nades. And Crow Street, well, down to their final player. Maybe just resort is no more for them. And go play where Safer was and just let the rest of the chaos happen. It's 4 teams to remain. It's a 4 versus 3 versus 3 versus Nilpois. Grove Street will take 4th.
I respect the play from Vaso. Tries to get the hell out. Tries to get into one of those snake spots that I talked about so much. These little round towers, the toilet huts. There's plenty of little cubbies you can hide in. But wasn't meant to be. They're going to be scratching their heads a little bit. They're going to be realizing that they trolled this one a bit. But ADR, on the other hand, they've been aggressive on that western side. They've been getting the kills before they needed them. And they're now the strongest team coming into this late game. And also, Mark, the only team that doesn't have to leave Resort, right? They're already playing on the outsides. I think they're a strong favorite in this one.
Yeah, no, it's coming towards the outside. Still holds so much element, but they've got that west, haven't they? They can wrap up and round. Redline could be disruptive, sitting in the middle. Be interested to see how they play. Also really interested actually to see how MSJ play, because if the fighting, like if Redline and 180R do kick off, which I kind of don't expect, especially at the moment, then MSJ could maybe either third party aggressively through Resort or maybe go up and around. It's phase number 8, so the dot is going to come out to the outside, kind of where the observers just showed us a second ago, so thank you very much. So all teams will be kind of fixated on that position, and more importantly, how do they get there? I can't see a team going as high past it towards that north side, but an MSJ could go out there pretty early and use the cover they've got and just let these two fight it out.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see how this plays out. Nobody wants to make the moves yet, right? Nobody wants to make the moves preemptively. Everybody hoping that they can catch a third party. Everybody hoping that the other two teams will engage each other first. Especially with teams being so active in the kill feed. Most of them will have a good idea of what they're looking at. Masajka, I think they can already be quite happy with what they have achieved this game. 6 frags from that side of Resort. They realistically should have been held out by Grove Street, right? So they're already 100%. Outperforming the expectations here, but they want to have a chance of winning this. I just don't know if there's a chance that ADR doesn't win this, Mark. It feels like they have such an easy road to a third party here.
Just depends on who they fight first, right? If they hold this corner and they've already seen them play out towards this dot, this is the right play. This tells me they're looking for that victory, right? Here comes in the blue zone nade. They'll be able to back away. There's no real pressure for them. Now MSJ and Redline start fighting. They can third party, then clean, and actually or hold and wait for the winner to come out. If Redline for me started pushing towards 100 ADR, which I don't think they can now because MSJ have kind of pushed through Resort, it would have been my well, I think you're right. 100 ADR looking for the win. Just the question is now who's going to bag second.
And how do you even play for second? Even if you made the decision here to play for second, how would you even do it? This is so hard for both of these teams. I think even harder for Masajka as they have to come down from the top. Redline, they at least don't have to jump down, don't have to step out any open stairs. Now the Util comes in into Redline as well, though. Look at them all. He's blocking out the doorway. Noddy wants to get out, but he can't. That second nade is good. And it's looking like Util might decide this fight before it even starts, Mark.
That's the danger as well. Great nade to come through. The first one, if it went past, would have been a big deception. Well, peeks around. Looks for nade, knows where he wants to launch it. Actually bounces off. Doesn't bounce the right way, but does using the smoke to his advantage. So for now, continue moving forward. It's got a little bit of a wall line cover, but no, 180 are going to hold. And there's one down. Redline scrabbling a little bit further afield, but it looks like 180 are just picking apart the pieces of these two teams left in Resort.
No chance for Maverick to get out either. Just one left. I think it's Noddy from Redline just hiding out in the smoke. He's playing time. Might even try and get the res, but nope. Taken out as well. And a solid finish for ADR. 14 frags there at the end, Mark. That's a game 1 to start the day off.
24 points. Resort ending. Perfect. That's what we want to see. Obviously, there's a lot of questions in chat, guys and girls. This is TPP. This is a TPP circuit, all right? So there are major advantages. A few new features you guys need to just know. If we see we're behind the player, that's how the player is playing. And so when we see great things like from the smoke and they're looking over the top or doing those bunny hops, that's what the player sees. When it goes into FPP, the player has swapped to FPP as well. So we get such a great amount of information and understanding of how these players are using the format and actually using the tools to their advantage. So really, really good hold. 180R hold out really, really well. And they moved to the position to the dot. And at that point, that was it for me. They were going to bag that win. It was just a matter of who was coming second.
They did the work early on in the game. When they came out of their compound, they started fragging out, they started taking space for themselves. We saw them sort of crunching in on these third parties, making sure they're cleaning up teams like Hands of Hope, right? They were doing a ton of damage to Ascend as well, taking out 2 or 3 of that squad. As we see the beautiful drive-by from Presenti that doesn't really clutch out the game for them. But yeah, ton of the teams that really got good points in this game, Mark, were getting aggressive early. We're fighting for space early, when you still can, when we get away with it. And that is something that I hope we get to see for the rest of the games as well. Not that, but the fighting early.
Perfect timing. Perfect timing. That. I think we will. I think we are going to see. This is where every week that passes by, every new rep that these teams put in, it's going to enhance. It's going to be that kind of skill set. I said before, in the other week, I think we're going to start seeing these kind of hybrid players, really strong FPP and also strong TPP. It's going to come down to a lot of the util use. Great use of the backboard there. MSJ, they shouldn't have been allowed in. I think Grove Street can be looking back at this one, Caro, like, we made it. We made a minor mistake at the end, but it cost us placement points.
Listen, I think a team like Grove Street is not going to call this a minor mistake. I think they have the level and they have the ambition to understand that this was a big throw. That's okay, right? Mistakes happen, but they will be sitting here and realizing, okay, this could have been the game where we almost lock in a qualification already. Remember, this is 8 games. You get a 24-point game, you're pushing yourself very close to that margin where you're already like cruising into the Masters Cup, and that's the big goal here. So that could have been their game. It wasn't this time. ADR closed it out in beautiful fashion, and Grove Street is going to be trying very hard to not let that happen again.
No, you can remember 100 yards. You put the reps in last week as well, right? So back to back, fighting their way through, deservedly getting here again, right? And do you know what? Taking actually that win is going to be huge for them. Game number 1 is done and dusted. Miramar is no more. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, though, we'll be swapping things up. See you guys in a second.
Welcome to the PUBG Players Tour. This year, we're introducing structured competitive play in third-person perspective mode for players of all ranks, levels, and ability. Here's how it works in EMEA and Americas. PUBG Players Tour competition is held in 2-week phases. Each week, you and your squad can compete in player scrims. Think of these as a great alternative to ranked play. Each day of scrims will feature a variety of maps, with defined team and lobby sizes to ensure a balanced best-of-3 rounds. Teams will earn points based on their performance, and daily leaderboards will track their progress. When the scrims are over, the top teams will qualify for the PUBG Players Tour Cups, where they will be joined by up to 10 invited teams, featuring some of the best players in the region. Players' Cup leaderboards will track team performances across 2 days of play, with the top 8 squads progressing to the final round of competition. Players Masters are the pinnacle of the PUBG Players Tournament. 8 teams from each of the 2 cups will engage in fierce competition for a huge prize pool in each region across the PUBG Players Tour season. And for times when a Players Masters isn't scheduled, you can still get your PUBG Players Tour fix with Super Cups. These work just like Masters events, where again, 16 teams, 8 from each of the 2 previous Players Cups, compete for a share of the total cash prize pool. Welcome to the PUBG Players Tour. You know the game. Be a player.
And just like that, we're back. Just like that, the break's over. This is fast. We're running fast here at the PUBG Players Tour. I love it. We're ready for game number 2, Mark. We're ready for the second map of the day, just like that.
This is the thing. It's one map each, right? So time to Taego's coming up. I actually really like this one. It was explosive last week. It was a very high killing game, but look at Miramar. Miramar was a high killing game. 100 ADR, bagging huge points, 14 kills, 24 points. That's going to really set them up, as you said, though, for a very, very strong start, though. It is a best of 8, so there are 2 days. But actually, if you're 100 ADR, you can be happy with that result.
Oh, 100%, 100%. If we had a look at the leaderboard earlier, right, of what you can expect after 8 games, what you can expect after 2 days, 180 hours already beating some of the teams on that leaderboard for last week. So they've got more points in one game than some teams last week got in 8. So they've set a statement, and they have all the momentum. If they can carry it into the rest of the games, if they can carry it into the Taego, they're looking really good here. But like you said, plenty of teams were fragging. Plenty of teams were just putting on quite the pace. And we'll have to wait and see if they can do it again on Taego.
Well, on Taego. Flight path for this one, though, is a west towards the northeast. So we do go across the top part of the map. We go just north side of the terminal. So we do favour very much a higher, maybe that island. Will be teasing us. Godok storage burning my soul at the moment with the amount of style of endings we get around there. But hopefully we won't get as crazy as game number 1. I think we had a lot of frags because of how late that zone was, and a lot of people got caught on the outside edge fighting, and it's kind of maybe that salvation. We need to get something out of this. We're so far away from zone, and I'm really impressed with Team Ascend, actually. Despite chasing the zone so much here, Koa, they got loads of kills on their way in.
Yeah, and that's it. Easy to say, right? If you don't get the zone, just go for kills. It's very hard to do. So them pulling that off is going to be nice. Them punishing so many teams around them feels very nice. Just looking for mistakes and aggressing on them quite nice and early. Now looking like they might be in a bit of trouble here early game once again. They are landing fishing camp split, and they have a team right next to them, Shro and the rest of the squad. They don't want to give this up too easily. Anybody has a car, he's getting the hell out. Hopes to not get popped out of here. No helmet to save the day for him, but it's looking like he might be okay. But still, they are in the middle of 4 angry Ascend players who might just run in this.
This is difficult. This is difficult. Ascend running down. I think this is also part and parcel of some of the teams that are already gone through. Some of the teams that already qualified. VP, this is their drop spot. Ascend are able to conquer this one as well. There's a lot of movement from here. A lot of early pressure. I do worry, because they're literally driving around in the middle of Ascend. It's going to be painful. No. Oh, and Pains is the first to fall.
Oh, that's rough. Chris pulling so much attention, so much damage, and then Pains can't get his from the side. Brex will have to go for that res, but there will already be an angle gathered from the rest of the squad. Here you can see Mad Nicative on the car already. We saw it on the map. He's already going for it. This is not looking very pretty for us, and they're not stuck out in the open. And there's the angle I talked about. There's Mad Nicative going for an alternate approach. This might get really tricky, but Brex finds one, makes things a little easier at least.
They're applying the pressure now towards Paynes, hoping, praying. The Bricks is with that knock, maybe trying to work on by. Drive-by will come through. That's right. Gets Bricks down. I think they were waiting for them to go for that res on towards Paynes. And man, well, nice response. Nice use. Grove Street already coming over from Palace. They know there's chaos here. They want to try and salvage what they can, despite having a good game number one. You're right, they'd be disappointed. And straight onto this as well. Instantly getting involved.
Yeah, well played. Nice reaction there, Shro with a good drive-by, but made easier by the fact that Brex doesn't even have a vest. Now Grove Street looking to third party, but you can see how even that's a tricky prospect. Kiliakai says hello. Knocks Kristalny down. And whenever they want to go for that res, Chris will be lying in wait. So Grove Street might be in for a rough awakening. That's super open here for Woxes. Chris has found a better scope as well. The shots are clean. Just needs one more. Can't find it. SKS bullets a little bit too slow. Still not looking pretty for Grove Street.
It's not looking pretty. I think they were looking to try and get those flushes out. But, so they will confirm early on. It's Chris. Gets caught just jumping over. Able to get himself in towards some cover for now. Killy guy gets confirmed, so that's another point on the board though. Send down to 2. Duos can be dangerous, but very early game.
The aggression can pay off. Can bite you in the backside. Man gets away with it. Nice reaction by Matt Negative to go for the angle. Nice shots individually. They'll get themselves 2 early points. As the circle is nowhere near this whole mess on the fishing camp area. We see a few teams already posting up. This is looking like win or die. He wants to grab something early as well.
Yeah, I like them. Obviously, we don't have a lot of the water on the top side. So that river, obviously, we do get to see that sort of 50-50 split or even a 60-40, you know, most of the time it's going to play back to the bigger river. With this sort of stream on the west, Win or Die position themselves in and around the compounds, but I think they've been put off by a lot of the cars that are rotating down, so they still play back towards the south side, maybe telling that they need a bit more loot. Eternal Fire, on the other hand, might have just tabbed out for a cup of tea. And Seifu, well, we'll be happy that he picked up a kill. After despite missing out some early ones where Ascend fell down. Most teams rotate their way in. That's 2-2 split here. I like the kind of Bucksang hold as well. AT in a good position as well. I also really like kind of TMO's 2-2 split over on that sort of east. Again, they're praying for that zone to play back to the end of that sort of water. Praying that's going to end in and around this area. But for recent times, Cohen, despite we had lots of kind of data saying that ended here, recently, since last update, he really plays in some random spots on this map.
I mean, there is a select amount of people that just put the tinfoil hat off and say that circles are pretty random, you know? There is that belief.
Don't do it.
We might be seeing some of that, but right now we're seeing some of the early action. Black Hive, a team that didn't get a whole lot going in the last game, landed some nice shots onto Presenti. Once again, Win or Die, not looking super clean in the early game. Chivas has to be extremely careful, but he does get the prone out, might get a smoke out, and he should be getting away with his life here, even if the car is not for long.
No, I'm trying to chase him down. Obviously, I said lost Presenti, but it's a good easy hold on the town. Stop the entry points on this sort of west side. Worked his way back, been kind of spotted, just running through the smokes. Does get caught, gets caught with the spray as well. Roxby disappointed, needs to see a tippy toe. I know my bad, doesn't get those final connections. Somehow, some way, despite the spray into the smoke, survives 1 HP.
That was a little too close for comfort. The smokes not doing him as much favors as he would have wanted to. Ascend on the send, something we've been saying a lot recently, not a good sign. But when you lose 2 players early, that is often all you get. Sending it late into phase 1 is a bit tricky. Everybody's already posted up and ready to take some of the most prio positions. We'll have to wait and see if they maybe reset in the forest here, slow it down a bit, and then go for another one. in phase 2. But it's looking like they might just slam it into Buxansa here. Sloyd Jacket, probably no chance of hearing him. They've probably gone silent. As I say that, Killy's still speeding. But I'm not sure if Sloyd Jacket heard that. I'm not sure if they're aware at this point.
Do you think?
Yeah.
They are backing out, aren't they? They've gone to the other side, so he's heard him. So I'm pushing back. I kind of expected to see maybe information gamed. Yeah, Navat's just looking back this way. That's a good play from Ascend. Down numbers, Bucks, and even in an FPP format, you can hide out pretty well. An argument saying that it should hold zone for a period of time. Most other teams thereabouts. Redline looking to kind of take the emergency pickup now, as they will sort of rotate their way in. The myth off, just stretching out, taking out a few more areas, but they've got to be careful. Other teams like Win or Die rotating through the middle of them. A missed opportunity maybe to pick up a few kills.
Love seeing Justus in the helicopter there as well. Helicopter potato truck. It's a PUBG
That's
special.
not a bad shout for that. That is not a bad shout for that, to be fair.
There is rumors that it gives you extra speed. We'll have to wait and see if Justus can make it work for him.
Put the tin hat back on, Kowo.
There we are. Back on the tinfoil hat theories. 1 minute until circle pop. Win or Die just postering up in this compound. Strong compound for themselves. Not a ton of visibility towards west or north, but if it does go east, they will have a lot that they can scout, that they can see. Redline, completely different approach. EPing into this phase 2, hoping to get a good EP on phase 2. So whenever phase 2 pops, they'll be ready for it. And hoping to claim one of the top spots here, Mark.
It's the right time. It's such a good call, mate. I think you were the first people to speak about this. Means with Ascend, actually, this style of play is kind of unfolded from there, mate. So, good timing. Some teams get it more right than others, should we say. But they will be airborne when that zone hits. And I think they'll be hoping somewhere around the middle. So they'll be able to sort of jump towards that late zone, that mid-zone pack. Looks like the myth off, again, splitting apart. Another player sneaks on by. And what if Sparta can... Nope, doesn't give away the position. So that's 2 sets of cars rotating right through the middle of the TMO, and they've not been quite ready either time. Here comes the zone pop, goes back the way it comes. Red line might be able to disconnect and go back towards that sort of northwest side. They don't obviously might be looking towards any of the compounds down below their feet, but a huge migration has to come in now from that southeast corner, and I think the Myth-Off will be disappointed they find themselves not in that zone.
Yeah, they've been gambling on the eastern shift. They've had tons of control on the eastern side, or at least tons of space, you should say. Like you were hunting at, they weren't really controlling the space because people could just traverse through it just without them taking all too many shots. And then red line, beautifully timed EP. My nerdy PUBG heart beats a little bit faster every time I see one correctly timed. And it works out for Redline. They're not hiding out here though. They're not trying to hide here and bait someone into crashing them. They are trying to let their presence be known. Taking shots early and instantly as the huge migration you were talking about is in full effect, Mark.
Yeah, I actually really like how Ibis has gone. He went to the north side of the road. He's like playing one of those little bowls where you see cars sort of pull up. So even if a team crashes that compound, he could be a bit of a gamble, but it might work out in their favor. And man, looking to try and bring their cars back into the safety now as that migration continues. As we are seeing these guys tighten themselves up. They're getting caught. Oh, he just ran out of ammo. Is he got away with it? He just, maybe. No way. No way. Great shot.
Oh, he turned the helicopter off. That's the first mistake.
Absolutely love it.
Rough stuff for Justus. Rough stuff for TMO. They get a good transition going here. They get into reasonably playable spots, but losing out on Justus is gonna hurt. Same for Grove Street. Remember them early game losing out on Kristalny is gonna hurt them in the fight if they ever have to come out of this compound or fight for it. Now Vox is caught by Shro. Might not be a big trouble coming in from the side of Man, but Win or Die could get interested in this. If they figure out where that res is coming on through, they could go for a bit of a push. That being said, if we've seen any sort of topic come through more on the TPP tournaments, is defending is just king. Defending is just so much better than attacking, and you can see Vaso doing that, and Win or Die doesn't want to run into his angle at all.
No, it kind of comes back to the, I suppose, the old school. The compounds, hold the compound down, lock it down, don't let the crash happen. So, let's pick one. Could use a blue zone nade as well. Drawing them out. Dope. Scrapping away. Blue zone does block elements of shots. You can't quite see the heads bobbing on the other side. They do rotate back. The Myth-Off, I just want to tighten out this east and then work their way up the hill. As the zone, I think they'll be hoping for again that east shift, but they found themselves in away from the chaos. So kind of like how they're playing at the moment. Love to see them get some more points on the board and close out. I think they're a team that might be disappointed. Actually, I suppose why it's calmed down to a degree, Koa. Before the next shift, let's have a quick look at that leaderboard, though, right? Let's get some actual facts and figures on the board. 180 yards, did get the win, 24 points. That's really, really good for them. The only other team, though, MSJ, they bagged themselves 11 points after that one. A lot of teams on this right-hand side only won maybe 2 points.
Yeah, very top-heavy leaderboard. Lots of kills on the teams that made it into late game. But it is one game. I say it's only one game, but it's 1 out of 4. It's 25% of our games gone, and that is an A that I thought was going to knock Abdul. Surely he's good dancing around. He's trying to use the camera, but it's too much for him. Bushido comes in, a team that was quiet in that last game as well. Knocks on the door and slams it into Abdul's face at the same time. They want to get the hell out of here, but look at Sparta driving up that hillside. He is slow as can be. Tires getting popped. He's going to have to jump out. Oh no, this is an absolute disaster. Can he make it over the hillside? He's just one bullet. No.
So close.
He tried his best, but did not succeed in the end.
Super slow motion vehicle. This way out. Sparta at this point, and they will lose another. And Edix, well, has to continue rotating. Zone has pulled back towards that east. Will die and Grove Street. They are showing a compound. Now, it's on the outside edge, so have to try and play him, but it goes back to that sort of E pickup from Redline, that 2-1 split. It's going to get a bit spicy after the fight, because the winner of this will be looking to either crash that compound or play into the dip, so either kind of needs to be ready for that one. But interesting to see how this fight plays out.
This is going to take both of these teams a while. Neither of them really wants it. Both of them want to leave. But if you're the first one to leave, you're also the one getting shot in the back, so never an easy situation. Not in first person, not in third person. You can see Roxy's got his angles. Get Roxy's got the high ground. Looking to make that nade work. That could be a good bounce, but Rox has moved just in time. Gets out of dodge. And this fight will delay another second. Saifu on the other side here is not bad. Not bad at all. The Panzerfaust. That was close.
I like it. I think he was hoping he might peek him at that point, did not so. With the warning, the nade.
The util's good.
Comes back. Really strong. Really strong. Launches a kind of a throwaway nade, which gets a bit of splash damage. And the blue zone, well, it's just going to be short. Didn't quite make the roof. It bounced off the roof and down. But yeah, really good, really strong util from both these teams so far.
This is an unintentional one, but still a good one towards Hello My Bad. They try to nade out Gedrox on that roof. The nades are coming back and they're better. The Rocks finds Vaso. We said it so many times, Mark, but it's better to see it than it's just us yapping. Util is absolutely king. And now that they've gotten the opener, now Gedrox can step up, can start getting aggressive. The time is working in their favor. Now the peaks are clean from Rox's, but neither of these two teams have a whole lot of time to resolve this conflict.
Grenade. Oh, unlucky.
This is a mess.
Time. They're out. They're out of time. Page number 3 is going to take a little bit more than what they'd like. And Grove Street already playing in towards zone. Seifu says, nope, I'm not getting caught out again. He positions himself just on the inside. So wait for these teams to rotate in. Maybe try and get an anchor play in here as well. Does play back towards the southwest corners. We do see Redline in. Ivis might want to give up that hold. I think he's got a car. Can he even get there? I think it's a big question. Grove Street looking to try and evacuate out the other side. And they might actually draw them into Seifu. Seifu, he stays still, could be deadly.
I don't disagree, but if they get in a car and they 3-man drive by him or something of the sorts, then surely he can't do all that much. If anyone can do it, will be Seifu. As we can see now, they're getting in the cars. He has an angle on this. He can pop them out if he wants. He spots Gedrox. No, there's the third body shots. They send him packing. Now his position is known. Hello, my bad has an off angle. But again, it's just mutually assured destruction. Neither of these teams are going to play a good game from here, Mark.
This was MSJ as well. Third party, didn't expect it. Now Hello, my bad is going to try and play to his way. The smoke will be a little bit of a giveaway. He's figuring out what he does now. He's got no car, so Hello, my bad should be coming into sort of line of sight. So through just about, oh, he doesn't quite get the mid on. Hello, my bad does go down. Major amounts of lifting been done by MSJ there. It looks like TMO 15th place for them. They do get held out, hands off, but good zone. I do like the zone. Send store in. Rest of these teams going to try and find position, and I worry. Actually, there's not a lot of position left to play. Iris has tied up with his team, so he'll be happy. So there will be another bowl. In this north side of the road, the teams can play. The TXV. He goes through. Doesn't quite get the connection and some wind shots. Preempting. Oh, wow. Oh, no. That's a free kill. Oh, he goes down. Oh, what's going on?
Oh, it's
and my
such
bag
a
gets
mess.
caught. That is a mess. There's a blur. There's a shot. That was definitely a spectator split.
Yeah, that was something was going on there. That wasn't quite going on. I'm not sure what that was. We saw him getting run over, but we didn't see the car. But there's Gedrox now coming out of the blue. He's got 6 more first aids. He's blue healing through this. He's gonna be very likely disaster for the Wild Division. I don't think that Trainer Hopica is gonna have a good idea of where the threat is really coming from. He might still see it just from looking out the door, but you can see Gedrox as well. If he just gets a peek on in, they're both kind of open to each other without knowing it. And I don't think that's gonna go all too well for Trinotropica.
I love how they position the meds as close as they can from Wild. So you saw the players, they were crawling. They're not going to go for the res. They try to get as close as they can so he can kind of jump out the shack, grab some more meds, and then work back in. He does have an argument of section to go in, but both these solos, I just feel like they think they're out now, and it's just a matter of trying to survive the zone. There goes the shift. Both store on the outside edge of blue. Both still have the opportunity to get in if they wanted to.
Somehow everybody on the west here still surviving, still holding us in this fight, in this absolute mess. Wox is there as well. He's just waiting. He knows there's teams coming on in behind them. Gedrox, he should be out of first aids here very soon. There's another bandage coming off. Somehow healing through a ton of this. And now, Trentropica, they've all done the work, you know? They've all done their homework. They've seen Lou do this. They've seen Beamy do it. They've seen everybody do it at the big tournaments. They know that bull healing is mega strong. Gedrox gets the better of it. Not known, so he can backstab, and now he can loot all of those first aids at the shack and delay the fight even longer.
The only one that does know is Grove Street. And you can see on the map, he's sort of still holding there. Back towards this side. Speedo pops over the top. AT lose 1. And to continue moving their way forward, though. 0 swag. A bit of swag there. So he's going to try and ignite that kill. That will be another one under the belt. Number 3 for them. You know, they've now pushed AT's final player down towards the south. So arguably they're really the only team that's kind of on this high ground in the north section. Unfortunately for AT, pulls up in the wrong spot. Nade will bounce. Does get the splash. Sorry, I'm crazy. Wasn't that much of a crazy zone. And great throw from him. It's back another point. And now comes the fight as everyone has to leave Buxan.
Everybody has to get out. Hands of Hope. Caught on an edge last game. Now looking again to get these fights going. Slow Jacket trying to pop over the top. Vampire wins it out for now. 4th kill for Black Hive. But they've got 2 teams to deal with on both sides. Hoppage has a good angle as well. Vampire's got to go so far in the open. If Hoppage can keep this rock and if he can keep working with it, this might be a trouble for Black Hive. But you can see both these teams not sure how aggressive they want to take that fight.
No. That's Ridgeline. Here comes the flash. Nades comes through. Bit of splash damage, 42. Empire using the edge of blue. Taking a little bit more too much of the edge. As he wants to try and peek over the top. Gets an idea where the player is. Now sees him. Hits the flash. Great flash comes through. Spray and the reinforcements now arrive. Empire around the outside edge. Gets caught in the zone. Got to try and get that confirmed. At least maximize the point when you can. They've been able to dig him out. He's gone back to the other side of the car. Very sneaky. Every point sometimes counts if you can deny it.
Look at the minimap. Look how many players are here, Mark. This is such a mess. It's an absolute slaughter. Black Hive somehow still 4-man up. They miss out on that kill in the blue zone, but they are staying alive at least. For now, Nabat finds another one on his Turtle Fire in the north. Makes things a bit easier for him. As Man suffers some casualties at the hands of Marchel. This is an absolute bloodbath on the eastern side, while the teams on the west, they continue chilling in this one. 7 teams left, 6 teams left.
It's mad. And actually, Redline have got so much room. So much room. Everyone's on the east at the moment. The question is, can they get out of the compound? Black Hive, 7 kills at the moment. They are trying to work a little bit further in. 10-5 have been spotted now. It's Black Hive. Get some initial shots. Might want to get rid of the tyres just to stop them moving from there. But they are just about in zone here. Everyone's fighting for the high ground here. And it's going to be maybe 1 team or 1.5 teams get out of it.
You can see Man already sort of scouting out the drops here. That's probably where they're going next. If they ever have to dip down, anybody's will have to make a way on in. And like you said, for first they're going to try and keep the high ground. Sending it down is only an option when nobody's above you anymore. We can see the Mad. He's fine down there right now, but he's got nobody above him on the northern side, so he can live for now. But he's not living comfortable. Let's put it that way. No,
he's just trying to, please ignore me. Please ignore me. I'm not here. And you're right. I think the key part to this is actually the north side. No one being there. He's going to be happy. I find it very difficult to sort of move from here, but he's not being drawn into moving. He's holding strong. He's not playing into their game. He will get towards that sort of north side now and have a little look round. He just needs to figure out if the team, or if there is a team still remaining on that north, or if they've sort of played over. To wait and see. He did come in from that top side, but back towards the action. Well, man, they can Hive. And unfortunately, there's a Panzer in the hand. Car goes through. Oh, whistled past it. That could have been explosive. Doesn't need it, though. Gets the shots on with the org. There goes 2. Down to the final player. And they have been picked apart. Oh, my God. 7 kills. 7 kills. They got deleted.
The Panzer misses and they still delete him like that. That is crazy. That was some clean shots. Nice peeks as well. Easily done with. 1-2, thank you. Cleaning it up. Mopping it up. Nice injection of frags of kill points there as well. Zico has to make the move now. They have lost Evas. He wasn't able to link up from that northern side. But they're still alive in this. Gonna get themselves at least the top 4, I think. That was impressive, though. That was some big kills coming out. Shro, he's been popping off recently, Mark. He's been showing us his skill. But that was clean.
So quick as well. Yeah, you kind of... Oh, they missed the Panzer. Oh, but just how they sort of pinned that down. And they were just ready for the kills. Ready to pick them apart. So, really good play. Zone Donuts up. Actually says goodbye to everybody. Even the Mad, who's just on the outside. He needs to maybe hunt his way around the other side of his rock. TXV, the bigger ass though. They're on the north side of zone. So, when they do sort of expose themselves over, they won't have the intel of who's on the other side of the ridge line. The rest of these teams, especially the teams up in the high ground, they can kind of look down, preempt, maybe using the cars, getting down to these rocks, trying to play centralized zone now. We are phase number 7. There are 5 teams, so we're nearly in the top 4 position. There's a few solos that are lurking in Taego.
Gonna be so rough to cross the road here. Gonna be so rough. Masajka down to just 1. He's gonna be proning his way towards the Mad. He probably has a pretty good idea, but it looks like on the map, like if the Mad is looking to nade the duo on the north here, so maybe his attention is divided. Maybe it's elsewhere. Maybe that's an opener. Zico goes down.
That's unfortunate.
Old man IGL for Redline. Doesn't make it into late game here.
Good play. Really like how he plays. Gets caught down. And then that 2-2 split wide. I think really tie down towards the south. Towards the drops. He remains holding that top. Now we find ourselves in the top 4. Is a 3 versus 2 versus solo versus solo. Solo's could be huge though. And there's an initial set of shots. Let's catch M-Man out. They've got the numbers to their advantage. They just need to start generating the angles with the numbers. And talk about generating angles. Well, Zero Swag's looking to generate himself another kill. He's heard the shots from Redline. They are moving in. And there's that centralized zone. Oh, not great parking.
Gotta be careful as well. Gotta be careful. If you're getting knocked by the solo here, you don't really have the manpower to consolidate that fast anymore. And you do still have Nailub, who's an absolute threat. And you have a duo on the north as well. So can't really open yourself up too much. Gotta make sure that you're staying out of trouble. Nailub's using the folded shield. Not a lot of bullets for him, but he doesn't need a whole lot more. There's not that many enemies to pop heads off.
Great peek as well. Using the shield to keep him covered, using the smoke, just peeking around, using the camera angle to his advantage. Now looking back the other way, puts himself back in that position, waiting, expecting for this team in the north to move in. Watching for him. Anybody does catch him. Position his way forward, does pop out on the other side of the smoke, and man, well, they're there. So puts another point against his name. And that team where they centralized up, they are now the only team remains. Top three remain. You do not want to go down to the solo here. Sorry, I'm crazy.
He's done it again.
Yeah.
He snuck his way in behind the mat, taking him out. Now he snuck his way in behind the next team, taking them out if the shots land. There's one. Second one's peeking him. He's trying to go for the flush. And then he doesn't know where to take cover from. It is Guard that takes him in the end. Third place for the solo and a 1v3 at the moment for Man. They're looking to close this one out.
Seen him. He's seen him. Now he's pinpointed. They're looking to try and maybe get that res. He's going to let that res happen. I guarantee it. That's all about point gathering here. He's not closed the game out, guys and girls, because they want the additional point. They're so confident they're going to win this one. He knows exactly where they are. Got to be careful, don't get knocked. As Nade comes over the top. And TXV, well, denying the point from MSJ. Might be trying to put it underneath their numbers. 9 kills, no argument. They want to get double digits from this one.
They do. They want to close this out with a bang. Now Utah coming up. Negative realizes that one's going over. But they got to be careful here. If there's any 1v1s isolated, this becomes a little winnable. For a Zero Swag on me, he can peek over that ridge with his camera and spot my negative. And then suddenly you're in trouble. They don't have a ton of space to work with, but one peek makes this a 2v2 if it's successful. And you can see they're both trying to use the cameras. Observers are helping us out a bit. The players don't actually see that much. And there it is. Steps up, but Shro puts him down. It's not actually negative, it's Shro. And just like that, game is over. 10 kills for a Man as they take the second game of the night.
Good play from them, man. Let's just break that last little bit down there, Koa, because he saw them. He knew exactly where they were. He faked the blue zone nade, but that was all about capturing another 2 points. He didn't get him in the end, as one of them did tap out to blue, but a good play. And actually, they're thinking about qualification. They want to secure as many points as they can. They nearly got 2. They bagged on the additional 1 in the win.
Again, we're playing 8 games. A win with 10 kills is absolutely massive here. We showed you that leaderboard before the game started. 20 points was something like a 12th place last week or something, and they got that in 1 game, right? So crazy stuff coming on from them. Crazy stuff happened in that forest up top. The way they dispatched of the teams around them, I think there was Black Hive that just got absolutely blasted. But yeah, we started off with very early aggression, and we kept that throughout the whole game, I feel like.
Yeah, a lot of fighting for high ground, right? Everyone's sort of going towards that south side, wanting to be that last team, because that was going to be that winning position, obviously, we saw from it. But there was a lot of early engagement. Big shout out for me. Grove Street, obviously, playing over from Palace quite early on. They were looking to try and get involved in that kind of ascend fight, pick up the additional knocks that they had received. A couple of mistakes here from the Myth-Off. They let a few teams through. And obviously getting caught out. Unfortunately for Sparta, very slow escape from him from Bushido. But I think some big name teams haven't performed really game number 1 and game number 2 so far. For me, I felt maybe some of them a little bit desperate attempt, sending them a little bit short.
The one I'm really wondering about is Eternal Fire. That one's a bit of a weird one for me. That one's a bit... That's a ghost car, by the way. You see it in the kill feed. He gets run over by a car that the observer can't see. crazy stuff happening. Maybe it is time to put the tinfoil hat back on. But Eternal Fire is one that's sort of a question mark for me. They've been a little disappointing in the last few weeks. They've been disappointing in the last TPP event, and they're starting off very slow here again. So a team that I would expect just based off sheer fragging power. You got names like Code Marco on that roster, who was one of the biggest fraggers in the region for a very long time. You would expect them to carry that through no matter how well they get along with the TPP, but so far that's not been the case. No,
I can't disagree, mate. They didn't perform on the FPP circuit, and they're a team you'd always expect to kind of get in because they have that fragging power, as you say. They always kind of, for me, leave it to the last game, and it's just explosive, and they send the team home and they qualify. But they didn't do it last week. Has that affected him? Is the mental stability there? Can they turn off TPP and the FPP switch and play both? Not quite there at the moment, but they do have big names. They get into the end zones, but as solos and not able to convert all the time as well. They're a team that needs to get to an end zone as a strong four. And I'm kind of with you. I'm just not thinking they're firing on all cylinders at the moment.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it. We'll see if they can pull themselves together. They have 6 more games. They have 2 more games tonight, right? And then they have 4 more games tomorrow, so plenty of chances to come back. We've seen what some teams can do. We've seen 24-point games, right? So they can get one of those, and they are one of the teams that you're almost not surprised if they get one of those. So we'll see what they can do. 2 more games for tonight, Mark.
Yep, 2 more games. I think it's time to have a quick break. When we come back, though, it's Rondo time. And if Taego's anything chaos, you wait to see this one. I'll see you guys in a few.
Welcome to the PUBG Players Tour. This year, we're introducing structured competitive play in third-person perspective mode for players of all ranks, levels, and ability. Here's how it works in EMEA and Americas. PUBG Players Tour competition is held in 2-week phases. Each week, you and your squad can compete in player scrims. Think of these as a great alternative to ranked play. Each day of scrims will feature a variety of maps, with defined team and lobby sizes to ensure a balanced best-of-3 rounds. Teams will earn points based on their performance, and daily leaderboards will track their progress. When the scrims are over, the top teams will qualify for the PUBG Players Tour Cups, where they will be joined by up to 10 invited teams, featuring some of the best players in the region. Players' Cup leaderboards will track team performances across 2 days of play, with the top 8 squads progressing to the final round of competition. Players Masters are the pinnacle of the PUBG Players Tournament. 8 teams from each of the 2 cups will engage in fierce competition for a huge prize pool in each region across the PUBG Players Tour season. And for times when a Players Masters isn't scheduled, you can still get your PUBG Players Tour fix with Super Cups. These work just like Masters events, where again, 16 teams, 8 from each of the 2 previous Players Cups, compete for a share of the total cash prize pool. Welcome to the PUBG Players Tour. You know the game. Be a player.
Welcome back, everyone. Half done. The exciting half now. It's been explosive the whole way through already, but we got Rondo coming up now, and we're going to close things out on Erangel. Well, first 2 games done and dusted. It's actually pretty impressive, though, from some of these teams, because some of them are starting early to bag points underneath the belt.
A lot of teams have started really well. We have a leaderboard to show you what's going on, and we've had some very top-heavy games, I would say, but this one's sort of evened things out a bit, as we're going to have a look in a second before we get into game number 3. Few teams towards the bottom are picking up a point here or there, but then we also have some big fraggers at the top right. 27, 25, 20. Masachka, one of the teams for me that I didn't really have sort of on my list. A team that I'm impressed by right now. But a lot of that is back of the solo performance we saw in that last game.
Yeah, even though you're down and out, I see this game mode play slightly different. And again, it comes out to kind of Eternal Fire piece. We've seen them get 1, maybe 2 towards the end, right? It's not bad, though. 180, 127 points. And man doing well with 25. MSJ still holding on. I think for me, the biggest shocks here are some of the bigger names, right? Well, I gotta call out the Myth-Off, Bushido, Win or Die, Eternal Fire, and arguably a bit of Grove Street as well, right? Because they're just not there. But let's get things going. It is time to Rondo, and with only 2 maps left of the day, I think these teams, especially we just mentioned there, they need to have a great performance. South playing path towards a north-northeast. It does favour the east side of the map.
No double planes this time. Just one eastern one with a bit of a contested area around Yulin, it's looking like. We see Sneep, Eternal Fire. Eternal Fire, they don't want to loot Yulin, they want to go north of it, but who knows? Sneep have been bullied out of Picaro today, so... well, they all seem to be diving for vehicles here, Mark. Nobody's stretching all the way through Yulin, so... Not actually sure what's going to happen there, and then, oh my, that power grid, excuse me. And that test track area is also looking feisty.
Could have so used to saying power grid. That's coming up next, Koho. That's going to be the hot drop next time. I was actually worried it was going to get 4 teams in there at the moment, but obviously Wild and Eternal Fire extend themselves a little bit further over. It does hold on to test tracks and not factories. We normally always see it. And the zone very early on at playing bosses. Teams like Ascend, without Dope, etc., going quite early on, they're going to have the ability to maybe loot as quickly as they can. For the rest of them, well, it looks like we're going to get the cars. But it's not a great compound to hold, and it could maybe just get by. I think Redline wanted to play into this one, but this is going to be an aggressive start here for Black Hive.
Oh no!
No!
He's flipped the bike!
No!
Oh, it's disaster. They're going to be running at this. They're going to be running this down.
Yeah, the other car's coming. Yeah,
but not in time. Not in time, ever.
Yeah, they've got this. Have faith. Put it in that back on, Koho. They're coming in. Good line. They've got to cut this off. They know they're there. They're trying to find them. At least they don't know exactly where the bike is. But no, you're right. They didn't make it in time. Like, oh my God. The most free one. See you later. The bike was on the red line and he couldn't keep the 2 wheels on the ground. Red line have to play this one out as a duo. Painful stuff.
That's a disaster. That is the worst start you can imagine. Same for Eternal Fire. I was saying that I'm hoping they can show us a bit more. Not looking like it. Not looking likely right now. Wild Division already taken out 2 of them. Now it's the IGL and the coach left to try and bring this one back.
Shotgun's not going to work that far. I can tell you that.
Yeah, he's going to have to get a little closer. But if he does sneak his way into the compound... Is he trying to climb up the tree, or what's going on there?
Is he trying to climb a tree? No, man, that's not a feature at the moment, mate. You can't get up there. He ducks back. I think they know he's there. He's been spotted. He has been spotted. An early death. Rondo's crazy. Antics. It's going to be explosive. Myth off on the other side, though. Tommy gun with a gangster crate weapon. But no helmet, unfortunately.
No helmet. Bit of a sneaky spot. Trying to take control of this compound, but they didn't really get any hints on who's here and what's waiting for them, so they're just going to dip back out. Bushido on the other side are looking to get interested. Looking to get themselves involved. As Wild Division now is stuck in a compound that, well, they got 2 kills in, but maybe they're not all too happy being stuck in the mad still proning MP5 shotgun. The man's a public warrior right now. They don't want to step on him. That is a landmine to step on. You don't want to get close to that.
Oh, I think landmine and the rest, mate. I think he's been saved a little bit here from Bushido. He has a little bit of a dip that he can hide in. But just trying to force in the wild a little bit further afield. I kind of get the impression they know that he's around here somewhere. And they're using the Pico bus just to cover as much ground and try and figure out what rock is he hiding behind. But still not picked up. That landmine might be more explosive in the world of Bushido because they might have no idea that the Mad's laying and waiting.
I wonder if they're just gonna get out at some point. There's a lot of angles being gathered around them. It's not very comfortable what's going on here, but Bushido is now deciding they'd rather play the game. They'd rather get deeper inside the zone. They were looking for easy kills. They were looking to third party a fight, and they realized there's no fight here to third party. This is just a team holding up in the compound. And that's gonna mean a quick disengage for them. The Mad still waiting it out here. He's gonna maybe try and stand up, use that MP5, but again, not even, we said the shotgun's not in range. The MP5 isn't really either. This would have to go crazy for Eternal Fire to find an angle on this, but you can see Wild Division, yes, they were looking earlier, but they're not really aware of this threat at all.
No, maybe they don't. Maybe just indecisive. He's going to make a run for it. Is he going to get caught by the 2 players on the left? Maybe, maybe not. He's going to pop out now. Oh, did he get away with that? This is going to be explosive.
Oh
no, reinforcements. Launched a util, proved the point. It's going to be a huge dump. There it goes, one. Over the top.
Oh, it's
perfect. One underneath the car. Oh, the car stopped it just. But they know they've disengaged him. Had to scramble to safety. The second nade comes in. The Mad tries to get the nade, gets caught with Chewy. And the Mad gets turned around with the shotgun. How have they got away with this? The Wild are playing utterly wild at the moment.
Oh, it was almost perfect. The car saves them completely. The Mad steps in, doesn't know about Tropica. And just like that, it's a 1v3. It could have been the play of the century. It was so close.
So close.
If that rolls through the car, I think he's got 3 knocks there instantly. Oh, it's gonna sting. 248 damage. I think almost all of that was the nade. Maybe all of it. So close.
It went under the car. That's the biggest thing. The bounce was just so unfortunate. Under the car, that team was gone. That team was gone. One nade, though. And Eternal Fire won't know exactly how close they were. Well, it's like when I die, I might have seen the E pickup, the balloon in the sky as they get drawn into the gunfight. They'd be happy to kind of take a third-party action as well. So they take exactly the same position Bushido did, but they actually gone for a little bit more of actually a 2-2 split. Looks like Head of My Bad moves around more of a northwest, trying to split apart this team. Eternal Fire needs to just try and wait this one out.
Another team knocking on the door. Another bit of early game mess. Bushido did well to dodge this one. Winadai is still yet to have the same experience, but Presenti might find himself a nice and early knock now. If he catches one, he makes this a whole lot more playable for Owner. Just like that, he's down to 1 HP though. They're gonna run him down now. He's needing more help than he can ever get. Armor with a long-range shotgun doesn't matter because he's 1 HP. And now the game's up for Winadai as well. And I would not be surprised at all, Mark, to see Winadai instantly disengaging this now. Because they, again, like Bushido earlier, realize there's no fight to be had here. Maybe we just get out. But Genrox was looking more like he wants to get in. I think he's thought better of it, though.
I don't know. I think he got told off. I think where you going? Get back to the car. We need to play on for this one. I think he thought he was in the public lobby at that point. Maybe a knock. That might change the approach from the team. Presenting hits a couple of shots. I think Hell of My Bad is expecting him to sort of play out on this other side. And Rox has been sent packing. He's gone towards zone. Got a little bit more deeper. They are just about in, so they've got time. I suppose they can play in from here. There's only one team that is outside the zone, I believe, at the moment. So everyone else has found a home, but we've already lost a team. So a lot more space to be claimed.
It's funny to watch the map. There's 13 teams playing the game, and then we have Win or Die and Wild Division here stuck with each other. Kristalny, I think we saw the kill feed going out already. There's a bit of aggression here coming out towards the more central position, the more high priority spots, the more popular spots. Hicks is just mountain biking around. He's just having a good time. He's getting the workout in. And Presenti again gets presented with an opportunity there, but he's biding his time. They want this team to come out of the compound. They want these kills. They don't care about circle position right now. They're happy to take a position in phase 2. They just want these early points.
Well, they're in zone. Ox obviously to go further down to play towards the south, but now this team has got literally all 4 corners held out. The downside to this play is one of them gets knocked. Then it's going to kind of put a timer on making the aggressive push, or going for the res, and you kind of expect him to go for the aggressive push. I also think that time, that stopwatch might start when that zone happens, and there we go. 100% is going to start. As it does play back towards that southwest corner, bit of water remains in. I expect some of these 2-2 splits to now collapse up and try and hold more compound. That nade's done mass amounts of damage to the car, so the Wild have to fight out. They've got no options. They've got defensive line. Actually got Pico Bus, but still got the defensive line to try and take up. Win or Die, they're the ones with the options. Do they take the fight? Do they not? Wild send it fully out. All 4 corners being held. It misses the first shot. Good connection. Needs to be careful to get dropped himself. He stopped for 1. They went for the C-swap. Nearly getting a second. Oh, it does get ahead of My Bad. From distance, picks him up. They should run him over. And I think the Wild will go and send it afield. One main player. Tidrock's unable to keep his boy alive. Trin, well, at least puts a point underneath the belt of Wild Division.
Is that a win for Win or Die? I'm not sure. They'll get themselves some kill points, but they'll lose a quarter of their team. And just like you said, exactly, if one of them gets knocked, if one of them gets drive-by, they are so split apart. There's no reaction instantly. And with the phase going so far south, that's going to delay them as well. They're going to have all the loot they want, but they're going to be quite late for that phase 2. 2 kill points is all they're going to get from it. And Wild Division is making that hard to loot as well. They're making sure to spread that loot out on the floor as much as they can. Very tactical.
Get away. He's been spotted. He has been spotted. He did see the player move around. That's just dope. Still without the helmet, so just be careful. The option. Oh, great nade from Sparta. It's picked up one side. I don't know if they have the information of the players right underneath the footsteps. Rabdu will launch a nade in the right way. Unfortunately, doesn't clear the fence line. Bushido, oh my god, he survives that one. Holding on for what they can. Third party action coming in from that north side. That nade eventually connects with its target. Now they're starting to confirm, but oh my god, they snuck up in the garage. Great knock. Unable to get the confirm. Plays his way forward though. Little spray will come through. Sparta needs to get this defend here, Koa.
Needs to try and delay this as well. Wait for a bit of help from Justus. Nothing just yet. The jump shot comes out. 40 HP. But there's stairway for Nail Cup. 25 bullets is all he's got to work with. He's gotten himself the flush. He's looking for more. Can't connect. Sparta gets the trade finally. But once again, a fight that does not go cleanly for either of the two sides, Mark.
I think I've seen a lot of this today, though. There's not been many teams that got out 4 alive. I think normally one, he gets knocked. Going to be disappointed here. They received that flush. Sparta obviously jumping down to try and follow the player of Bushido. Sazono is looking. And, well, It's always the one map where you can never be disappointed when it comes down to glider use. Bushido 15th place for them. And man has picked up the players. They scrabble. Look at Molly. The Molly's been caught. He's gathering so much information. He'll have the rest of their team to come into the compound.
Beautiful use of the glider. He loves to see it. Just an absolute drone on top of their heads, giving them all the info they could ever want. Anybody's connects one, negative with the other. And now it's just one player left in the compound. Zero swag on me. He's running around, dancing, dodging util, but not enough. Anybody's takes him down. 4 frags for the men. And they're gonna be happy to stay clean in this. It's a circle that doesn't provide a whole lot of options, so you will have to fight for most of your options. They're gonna be very happy to keep 4 alive.
What the expectations are now, hard shift towards the northeast, right? Lose the water in the high ground.
Yeah.
In the southwest corner. I think that's why we see Hung Sang so empty, so parched of players. But it does mean we're going to have a lot of teams fight for little to no cover on that east. For now, Redline, despite losing too early, have got a kill under their belt. And they are in zone. I think that's the best thing. It's a very difficult zone to hold, though, especially as a duo.
Rough when you start the game is 3 as well. Even harder to stay clean in fights, so they're going to be happy that they've got a few points there. So we now see more engagements around the win or die compound. We saw TMO here earlier. We've seen plenty of teams move in and out just for scouting positions, figuring out where to enter the zone from. But if you lose 2 players, that whole info doesn't help you a ton. Ascend on the eastern side, starting to get involved. They're a team that you would expect in the gliders more than anybody else. But doesn't look like it right now. Grove Street coming in aggressively right next to them. Bringing the pain to the hands of Hope. But all of these teams, Mark, they still gotta move. They still gotta get inside here. They still don't have a ton that they're playing in front of them.
Do you know what I love? I think the expectation, and even me, when we first hear about TPV coming out, it's going to really slow the game down. It's going to be super slow. Everyone's going to be looking around corners. I actually feel like this is more explosive. People getting caught on rotation. People getting caught crashing into compounds. Is that subject to a best of 4? I think so. I think without the additional 2 games, they don't have that throwaway games that you mentioned about earlier. You have to maximize all the points they can. I'm really impressed so far. I am really impressed with the level of aggression we are seeing from these players.
You gotta cut them some slack as well, right? They've been playing FPPs for 7 years, 8 years at this point, and now you're suddenly thrown into that whole TPP change. You gotta figure everything out. You gotta really just sort out your rotations, what works, what doesn't, how does the scouting work, how do the fights work, how does the util work. All of that is just thrown into a bit of a mix. And you can see that the games are a little bit more chaotic because of that, because the meta just isn't as established. That is some nasty shots from Mossbot, though.
Insane shots. I think it's disappointing to get the first one. You can kind of see him going back, but it's given the opportunity now to escape the clutch of the blue zone. Owen hand on the other side doesn't quite get the connection. There's that northeast shift that we expected to lose the high ground and the water. But Redline, they're all going to be able to hold. TMO are going to be able to hold as well as the Win or Die team. Well, they rotate their way in towards the other side. Hard cover in the centre. It's not a lot of areas to sort of keep your head down with the cylinders, with the silos. You've actually got to keep clean. Things like shield, cars, I think they're going to be really, really effective now if you will find yourself in this area.
Yeah. Few containers, few folded shields, few rocks, whatever you're given. Now, the containers are what Hands of Hope is holding on to. But there is a whole lot of throwables coming their way. One knocked already. Grove Street wants to make the push, wants to make the aggression. A good flash comes out, but Hoppage finds more damage than he receives. They're both blind at this point. It's an absolute mess dancing around. Hoppage finds one, Vaso out. The rest of the team is not even there to help just yet. He even has time for a reload, Mark.
He's got time for a reload, but the reinforcements come in. Good spray, gets great connection. Pre-fire comes on the other side. Flash will go through. Does get a great connection here. And we are in Grove Street, but he goes for a full send. He does catch him, eventually falling down. It was messy. I love the full Flash. Both of them just spraying back towards AT though. They got Kilikai down, confirmed out as well. It's number 3 on the belt for them. As we are fighting for very, very heavy areas. Pretty empty. Everyone else sending it towards the center. Here's the shield. Here's the cards we speak about. Win or die. Final player for them. Using the card to his advantage. Presenti able to pick him out. He might be giving up that kill towards red line. He is. Ivis finds himself, but do you know what? Give that to Presenti. Keeping his head down. Keeping himself in the game.
Might get himself another here. That car is not for long, though. I'm pretty sure
He's
about
right
that.
there.
That car is blowing up. Shro blows him up before. Game over for Presenti. Tries once again. Gets himself another point. The man's been an absolute point guarantee for win or die in the recent past, but not able to do it all in the end. Brex very alone here versus Grove Street, but there it is. Drive-by goes into the blue. Chris instantly punished, though. It doesn't have an idea of the angles that without Dope has been able to gather. 10 teams out, 9 alive. Ascend, I believe, down to 2. They've gotten a few frags on the board, but they have been decimated as well.
Yeah, Seifu, despite going down to the blue, was such a disruptor there. Causing the line of sight for Ascend to focus out on the blue. He's unable to get the med back on, so he does fall. Limited teams over here. AT kept cool, calm, and collective. They now find themselves on the outside edge. They're waiting for the zone pot. Phase number 4. We'll try and play in. We'll be too surprised to see a lot of that hard cover remaining. The rest of the teams, like we see from without Dope, pushing themselves a little bit further forward, trying to take some hillside where they can. There goes the zone pop towards the outside. It's not too bad. I think Payne's has got a little bit of a ridge line. Wouldn't mind seeing Brex kind of tighten up to him. The question is, can he get there?
I'm not sure if Brex is getting anywhere with that mini headshot. He might not even get himself into zone.
Oh my God.
Gets inside. 0 HP to work with. Any bullet would do the trick. Payne's got his back, though. And if Brex can reset that, he'll be mighty happy if he can even make it into cover here. Get another first aid off. Blue zone on their backs. Not going to be healing for all too long here, but they have time for one more reset. Gonna close the door, get some peace, get some privacy. Get that med kit off. They've got another rotation ahead of them. They've got to figure out where they want to be going with this. There's a whole lot of dope players just holding down the ground in front of them, so they got to figure out what they want to do with it. Maybe they'll find a bit of a dip. Maybe they find a drive-by onto just chilling. They got to get something to work. Plenty of teams in this compound, Mark. Redline's been here for a while. TMO's been here for a while. They're still holding on, both of them.
Yeah. Good position. They can hold, and obviously it favours them because they're down numbers, right? So I think TMO will be more comfortable sitting on the kind of the pinpoint on the east, the final stay. For now, to the other side, it's fight for open terrain. There's a few dips, there's a few bowls that they can park the cars in. I do think it's going to come like a minute ago in the hard cover down towards you two. How many cars? If you've got cars, shields, deployable Doritos, that cover I think is going to be again a critical to keeping teams alive. So losing another tire, give it a car alive as best as he can, for as long as he can, as he drifts his way into cover. Nice parking.
That's beautiful. That was much better than expected. Now the car rolls though. All that work for nothing.
Oh.
He's barely fine, maybe. Oh, he's gotta hug the rock. Not enough. Hard to know sometimes as well how safe you really are when you have that TPP camera. Something that players will have to get used to, definitely. And with him going down, that's the go signal for everyone around them. You can see Paints, he's already been aggressed on. He's trying to lob a nade out, trying to relieve some of that pressure. He's got a team behind him as well. Dope's coming on in. Both teams are looking, hunting for these frags. Paint's got to get out of cover. Just like that. Ascend gone in 9th. Getting themselves a few kill points, but no placements again. That eastern side was just a little bit too populated by 2 teams who just had too much space for themselves.
I think it's the space. They want one team out of there. They want one team like we saw in the last game, sort of to be the victor and then try and close the game out. Back in towards the chaos. Oh, a nade comes in. Let's confirm on the board. And missing person 6. Well, it doesn't find the missing nade. Good nade on top. Don't actually hold him to hard cover. I thought he was going to go more towards the east. It doesn't. It's going to help out Ibis though. So you got to dance the dance in the cover, but he can play peekaboo. WD find themselves in placement despite being early game antics. Store alive, store kick in. Depends how many more first aids he's got before we tap out. 6 teams remain.
6 teams remaining. TMO, Sparta. He's quite aggressive on this rooftop. And I don't think he can play here for very long. Hero getting close. As soon as Sparta hears this, he's got to dip off the roof. He's got to get down. They're going to see him, and they're going to shoot him in the back. He knows. Would love to hold out the rest of the compound. Rest of the silo area. But he's got to worry about his backside. Completely exposed to our gear retreat.
Love they brought the car up, though. They're using the car as cover. They've actually driven it in the car park and put it on the second floor.
It is a car park.
So, yeah,
it does make
effective.
sense.
It's good use. Yeah, good use. It would be more funny if the car couldn't get in the car park. I'll be honest with you, but well designed. And I actually love what they're doing. He's still driving around. I still think he's trying to figure out exactly where to place that car.
He's got to figure out how not to get a parking ticket. You know, he's got to make sure.
Surely it's the weekend. It's free parking. It's free parking at the weekend. Well, maybe it's where I am.
But you look at that.
Now,
you look at Hero. He definitely can see Sparta when he looks. He hasn't really looked yet. He's been more bothered with the rest of the compound. But Sparta is playing a dangerous game on top there. And the second Hero peeks over a little bit too much, might get dicey.
He's kind of playing that checklist, though, isn't he? AT just obviously working their way down. We've got to start at the furthest point, and then we can get as close as we can. If we try and overpeak, we're going to get caught by M-Man like that. And I think Sparta is relying on that. Relying on the teams on the other side are going to help him. But the moment he starts shooting at those other teams and he ducks them in, that's going to allow AT just to kind of peek over for free. So it's a little bit of chicken and egg between those two teams, as they do find a good placement now for the car. And that's just maybe be the one to provide an element of suppression back towards the east.
Bit of a calm before the storm situation. Just does. Playing a dangerous game. Both ways. When you're in the middle, sometimes you gotta duck down. Sometimes you try to poke your head up. Have to wait and see what the recipe is. But men pick up 2 knocks there. 2 long-range knocks with the DMRs. It's a bit of trouble for Without Dope, but I can see them getting the reses at least. I don't think there's a ton of pressure. There is a third-party flush coming on in, though, and there is a ton of pressure. That's a big pull-up for the men.
Well, they need it. They got the knock. They take the opportunity to now leave the hard cover. Spray, drive through at least. Doesn't drive through, doesn't spray. Gets seat swapped. Oh my God, he pops out on the other side. Gets a knock, but that's not going to avail. 11 kills here for M-Man. Good play from them. I don't know if they're going to be able to hold out much more. AT getting active on this one as they activate towards this side. And they've come from the safety of the zone because they played up for the kills, expecting the zone to push out towards the east. But it went back towards the hard cover. They now have to try and ensure that AT can't peek over the top to them.
It's a big, big step up there for Nicative. If he goes down there, suddenly they're in huge trouble, but he cleans it up from the side, makes sure that doesn't become a problem. Evas still dancing around these pylons, these silos, still hoping to get the better of it. Still hoping to be the last one surviving. Getting aggressive on one side as well. Doesn't realize he's been wrapped on the other. Has to be very careful. And just like that, M-Man back in the compound. Back where they came from. They took the kills, and they come right back in.
I just love how chaotic it's been. And Redline's still surviving, right? Despite all of the early accidents, should we say, with the bike. Found themselves in the top 5. Back themselves 3 kills at the moment. And it's for such an open area for me. He's playing it so well. Constantly on his toes, constantly moving around, trying to generate angles. And then here's a few shots and fights, and then tries to get involved and see if he can get a steal. Really like what we're seeing from Redline at the moment. Zone, as I said, shifted back. It's phase number 7. Got 5 teams. There's not much more room, especially for AT, to move on in.
That's a nice knock as well. That slows them down even more. That takes time away that they can use to work on this approach, right? If Sparta gets knocked here, AT is flying in. But yeah, Sparta getting the better of it, getting the knock, buys them a bit of time, makes it even harder for AOT to do anything with this. Now the nades are coming in again. Util's been so dominant. He can swing around the corner as well because there's no audio anymore, but it is the third nade that cleans it up. Doesn't even have to swing it. Has to be careful about Evas though. He's still there, but Tro gets the better of him. What were you on? Collected. Just like that. Red line out. We're down to 3 teams and only 1 team on the west side of that road. Only 1 team with 4 members up, and that is the men.
Do you know what? Again, Redline getting in. Kudos. Absolutely hard to hold this area. Done it to perfection as a duo. Zone shifts down. TMO will try and hold. It's a 4 versus 3 versus 2. So's already tapped out in 4th. AG able to get the res, and I love that we're seeing M-Man aggressing this one. They feel so comfortable bouncing it back around the zone. So claim pretty much the whole south to themselves. Koho, I think they're waiting for the third party. They're waiting for this fight to kick off, and then they might try and sweep in for another win.
And they have all the ground they would ever want. They've been smurfing this game, just driving around, killing people where they find the openings. Now they take all the space they could ever want. Nickative gets himself a car to peek on over as well. They can just wait for this to pop off. Sparta's popping off though, finds himself 2. He gets 1 stolen away. That's going to sting a bit. Has to be careful about Mossbot in his back pocket. But TMO are holding on strongly. Justus, gotta have the patience here. Gotta have the patience to figure out where Hero is coming from. Pops him through the smoke. 1 HP. The spam's there. And it's Shro again who picks up the merits. Credits are going
15
to
kills.
M-Man while the work is being done by TMO. They can make this a 17 kill win. And I wouldn't be surprised if they did, because TMO doesn't look like they're in a mood to deny this.
Correct. If I'm right, I think M-Man had 15 kills from the first 2 games in total. Like, they've just doubled up on kills. Insane. And they're looking to go back-to-back, right? So, let's take it. Shro playing so well. 6 kills underneath his belt as well. Is he holding the weight of the team? Sparta looking to try and peek over the top and defend his town, which is known as the car park at the moment. But I think it's going to be a util dump towards the end. There goes one. Now comes full gas. And it's not. No. Sparta will hold. This is Sparta. You should not pass. Surely the guys are just going to util dump. Blue Zone A's need to come rolling in. It'd be very difficult for him to try and play out from this staircase.
He's going to try and work for the flush here. Usually you would at least, but it's looking like he's interested in trying the 1v4. Interested in feeling out his chances. Wants to go for the clip. But he's given them a lot of time to assess the situation, to realize where he's playing from, close out some of the angles. They know exactly where he is. Smoke's going to help him conceal a little bit. But you can tell it's messy for him too. It's not just the vision on the one side. Shots come out.
Oh, unlucky.
Not gonna work in the end. Good game from TMO, but it's a 17 kill win for M-Man. And you said they were doubling up. They've done more than that. They had 25 points before this. That was a nice little 27 on top.
Insane.
No problem at all. Above the 50-point mark just in 3 games here.
Insane. 15 kills coming to this one. They just bagged 17 points just from kills alone. That is a big, big game from those guys. 27 points, that's kind of securing their spot, at least cementing the opportunity that they might be going through. Remember, we're looking for a top 8 and going back-to-back win, plus with the huge amounts of kills, plus they came from the outside. They lost the zone a few times, Echo, and they had to push in. I feel like this team feels comfortable moving around the zone. They got the knock. We saw the aggression out towards the east. They lost the zone. They had to play back. They're constantly happy to rotate round and find an angle in towards the late game.
Yeah, big stuff from them. Like I said, they felt like they were Smurf in that game. They were just dominating every fight they got into. As we started with potentially the most unfortunate start of games. But it did salvage. Oh, double unfortunate. This could have been so massive. Oh, man. A few centimeters lower and it would have been just a beautiful nade. Unfortunate for Ono, unfortunate for Eternal Fire. But a massive statement. And you said, well, maybe they're qualified, or at least trying to lock it in. I think they might be qualified at this point. If you're looking at the leaderboard from last week, we had, I think it was something like 47 points in 8th.
Yeah, 47 on 8th.
They're on 52 right now. They're looking really good for this.
Do we expect that point margin, though, to go up every week that goes by? Or do you think a give or take average 10, 11 points per game, best of 4 a day? It'd be interesting to know how this unfolds and how teams adapt to TPP.
Yeah. Lots of aggression coming out in the mid game this time. I feel like we had a bit more quiet early game. We had the compound shenanigans, right? But then the rest of the map was rather peaceful.
Yeah.
And we then saw it blow up in the compound. We saw it blow up on that eastern side. Ascent getting crushed between 2 teams that had a huge amount of space. always super rough. It's the worst thing that can happen to you pretty much, is running into a team that has tons of space. They just have all the angles, they have all the info. And it does make them fall short, as the men just giving us a bit of a show, giving us a bit of a frag movie. It feels like every second highlight is off them. And, well, that's how she wrote.
Good to see TMO late game, second place for them, and arguably in a position that is strong. And was always worrying that actually the third party was going to come from that hillside, but they was able to hold out. Good play from them. But yeah, like the MN, it is insane at the moment. Heavy use of util, great use of area and space, and they're comfortable. They're comfortable moving around, taking on fights, and they're there to kind of stack up. They get a knock, but the rest of the team arguably is not too far away to continue to apply that pressure though. But we've only got one more game, Koa, and where are we going?
On one more game, we're going to the Dusty Dunes. We're going to the power grid that we talked about, right? We have one more break for you guys, though. Just a few minutes. We're running these games quick. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the PUBG Players Tour. This year, we're introducing structured competitive play in third-person perspective mode for players of all ranks, levels, and ability. Here's how it works in EMEA and Americas. PUBG Players Tour competition is held in 2-week phases. Each week, you and your squad can compete in player scrims. Think of these as a great alternative to ranked play. Each day of scrims will feature a variety of maps, with defined team and lobby sizes to ensure a balanced best-of-3 rounds. Teams will earn points based on their performance, and daily leaderboards will track their progress. When the scrims are over, the top teams will qualify for the PUBG Player...
Let's go. You blink and day one is nearly over already. 3 games under our belt. One more, though, as we go back old school to Erangel. I'm excited for this one, Koa, but it has been explosive, and I feel like the top half that leaderboard is getting pretty heavy for some of these teams.
It's getting pretty heavy. It's getting pretty crazy. 52 is a huge gap to 28 in second, right? But, well, that's what you get when you pop off back-to-back. And ADR had a pop-off in game 1, and then it's been... M-Man, or the men, as they said they would like to be called, in 52. 23 for Masajka and Black Hive and Redline is a pretty close following. All teams that look good coming into the top 3, and they look to consolidate a top 8 spot as well, Mark.
You mentioned as well, I think it's a really important point, actually, that the cutoff, though, 47 points is huge. I think a lot of teams be looking back on the leaderboard, though, from week number 1 and going, hey, we need to kind of get halfway and then kind of set ourselves up for that second. And man, God, they're stealing. If they continue to steal, it could be chaotic, though, for some of these teams. And that might force a very, very tight mid-pack.
We'll have to wait and see what we do in the last game. One more time, we're going in the plane. We're going to Erangel. The players are locked and loaded. Obviously, this is no Dusty Dunes. It's the old faithful. It is Erangel, and it's a plane path that's going straight across southeast to northwest. Nobody's going to be complaining all too much, and everybody knows this map like their pocket.
They do. A southeast towards a northwest, right through the heart, the soul. It's the grassy pastures of Erangel. We'll give a shout out as well. Hey, Grid in chat. Welcome in, mate. Big PUBG fan, so good to see you in. I think today has been super explosive, and obviously this is halfway. It's a best of 8, right? I just worry, Kobo, that this mid pack, as I mentioned before, if the teams don't end this well, or if M-Man runs away with this one and kind of 100% confirms their spot, right? That will be real chaotic, though, because there's only 4 games. Teams will not have the option to let one go and drop a game tomorrow.
Nope. If you want to fight for the win tomorrow, you're going to have to start closing that gap. You don't want to be closing it towards the last few games. Those are going to be the most chaotic ones, right? We had a bit of chaos going on that Rondo. We have a bit of early chaos going on with Bushido here in Grove Street. Nice peek, though. Nail Cup out. The right peek is too strong. Just like that, you're losing a member early. I think we have a bit more potential for danger around that Watertown area, but that's looking resolved, and maybe this is the fight that we're looking at. Yeah, Ascend hot dropping the M-Man there, doing the lobby a favor, but this is the spicier fight.
It is, and our Grove Street team needed that, right? They needed a knock, and they need to get their point under the board. Middle zone obviously does go early again, so we are playing back towards the sort of east side. Lots of opportunities from a pull down towards Mill to Power, Prison, Hall of Fame. On the early Grove Street, not to try and finish off Bushido and isolate the individual. When we do work now and isolate.
Yeah, they're looking to hunt this down. They're looking to get quite aggressive here, and I love it, honestly. Especially in these early game situations. I've said it before, right? These are fights you can get away with. Yeah. These are fights that can't be third-partied, but I see a Panzerfaust there, and I'm seeing trouble, but it's another miss. It's a big miss. Gets one, though. Tries to look for the second. Oh,
lucky.
Little. That was looking dicey for a second, but he doesn't get the second hip fire around the corner, Mark.
That is so unlucky. So unlucky. The second Panzer. What is going on with Panzers today? There's no homing missiles, though. There's a whistle past. It's Chris. Well, he's playing tactical sneaky, as we're waiting for the observer features to catch up. Bison, at distance, not a fan. Bison, close range, might be able to put a point underneath his belt as they're trying to hunt the graves and ruins.
I wonder if this is targeted. I wonder if they have an idea who's here. I wonder if they're just trying to make this more possible for the lobby.
Oh,
doesn't matter. They found the men.
Still going.
And they've done the damage, but Shro is actually jumping out here, not driving away, not risking getting hit again. He'd rather just first aid and potentially take a fight. Ascent is full running at him, but I think he's going to be getting away. Can't say the same for Bushido here. Iroh has to be a little careful. He's got a whole TMO squad just cruising on by.
He went to a combat. Arguably, TMO might have just whistled past, but it wasn't the case. Wants to keep Cell safe. Though has been spotted, has seen. Nate goes to the top, team throw away. There's no big connection to happen. He didn't even know he was there. He didn't even see the nades. And Project Axlef goes down. How did he miss the play? I suppose he was trying to get the additional car coming in. You know, Sue remains here. Just catch to one. Seifu needs to tuck away, needs to find the angle, but Seifu falls as well. Grove Street, despite having an aggressive start, they are falling apart and are game 4 and 6. Doesn't sound right saying that. Oh, wow.
It does feel like it. There has a lot of craziness going on in this game 4. TMO looking to cruise on in as well. Justus does the damage. Boxes doesn't quite connect as well as he did on the first one. Just like that, he'll be put in a very hard 1v2. But as I say that, Justus is wide open. Sparta doesn't know where he's going. He's almost down. Boxes could do this.
No way, one-man army. They know he's here as well. Got the kill feed confirmed. Sparta refuses, and yet again, Sparta remains. Grove Street will fall. 60 will play. Such a promising start for here. Game number 4 for them. I need to say game 6 then. And they started well. They started really, really well, but falling straight after. 15 teams now remain. The handoff kicked off Miramar pretty strong. Get the first point on the board here for game 4. And they got a huge control in the south. Wait and see if any more teams come this way, because we've got a lot of E pickups, E rotates rotating their way in from the west.
We got 54 people alive in this one, Mark. This is an absolute... This is an absolute mess. You were saying game 4 antics like it was game 6. It does feel like it. The Mad gets one back, but surely that's not a player you're rezzing. Crossberg out of the picture. They're going to try and consolidate on the compound now, but it's another Panzerfaust coming in. What is going on? Code Marco's got it ready.
Code Marco's not going to miss. I feel it. He's going to get the connection. The question is, does he take out... Oh, he doesn't quite get the connection. Pretty fast towards the stairs. At least they get the confirm. Everyone down. What's really interesting here, Eternal Fire under pressure, Grove Street under pressure as well. All teams lower side, Bushido under pressure, lower side. It's like the richest all getting richer at the top, but everyone's fighting for every single point they can. But that's the low side of the table. It's not having that much of an impact because they're going down players, they're losing bodies, and they're not able to farm the kills that they need. Send a nice E pickup. That's a bit early, but they are going to go late. Be too surprised for them to kind of jump Lipovka at the moment. So the rest of the teams will work their way in.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no. Yeah. Oh, no.
This ain't looking good. They were...
It's the right spot, though, to take, right? This is a strong position, but...
I don't know if they'll get a car, but I know that Hello My Bad has absolutely no idea what's coming towards him. Maybe the rest of the squad has seen it now. They're looking like they're grouping, but there's parachutes in his face. There's a man in his building. What is that?
He had no idea. He was like, what just happened? That's a parachute. I actually thought it's Chris landed on the balcony with him as well. He went through the downstairs door, up the stairs, turned around, got himself a kill. Win or die, we'll send it back towards the north. Jedrox, though, without the guidance of the team, he's gone the other way. As we saw in the last round, he was eager to make the push, but he's going to find himself more a central zone. Arguing saying actually he might be going the right way, but we need to wait for zone to pop. I feel sorry for the observers. This is chaotic.
You feel sorry for them now, but you're going to feel better for them in phase 4, because usually, you know, phase 4 is the one where we get 30 people dying in 3 minutes. Now, at least, there's not... Maybe we don't even have 30 people in phase 4, by the way things are going. Makes for almost a bit more peaceful game, as Hicks is waiting out his chances to try and get himself a freebie. Eternal Fire under fire again. Not looking all that clean. Anybody takes one out, has to reset, has to fall away. 3G is going to make it a little bit easier, but I don't see his vehicle. There it is. A little bit down the hill. Doesn't want to get headshot here, but he does have to go somewhere. He can't stay around forever. He's been tacked up from multiple sides.
Just hide. Just keep your head down. You're fine. The rest of the boys coming in. Eternal Fire in a really good position as well. Kind of play peekaboo on the other side. It's a little bit down more towards that southeast. Wanna die, looking to try and tighten themselves back. Going around Lipovka to send, despite getting a lucky pass, should we say. Tell my bad, didn't pick him up. They actually hold a really strong position of zone. And ready up. On the other hand, though, they're in Yaz. Having to crouch his way around just so he doesn't expose the silhouette towards without dope.
You're looking for that freebie. I'm just wondering if Ascend got away with a car there, right? Because they didn't, they'll have to run for quite a while, and we might see Win or Die trying to punish that. But yeah, they got bricks in the Lipovka now, so they'll have multiple vehicles at this point. That's the benefit of an early EP. Sometimes you don't take it to the circle center, you take it to the circle edge. You find more isolated positions, more isolated players you can punish, and then you also find yourself free vehicles. Nobody's taken up yet. 160 damage from Chris means he also got to shoot at the other Win or Die members a bit. as they made their way out of danger. And we will have to see in 35 seconds, Mark, where this zone takes us.
I just feel this is the calm before the storm, mate. I generally do. It's been really explosive. And I think people have lost people. Like, okay, let's just wait this one out. Hold on, guys. It is phase number 1. This could be huge, though, for 100 ADR. If they get caught running between buildings, they're able to sort of look down, especially if they haven't got the information. Well, they're not eager to kind of look too far in towards zone, as they are slightly split. They've got a 2-1-1 hold. As win or die. Trying all forms of transportation at the moment. The zone's going to pop. So where does it go? Surely pulls back towards the south. It does. Southeast we go. Mill to power. The migration has to happen now. This is mad. If you didn't see chaos already, it's now going to begin.
Yeah, this is going to get wild. And this is going to get a bit of a migration. Like you said, there's a few teams that will have to make their way on in there. There's a few teams that won't have an easy time at it. Teams like Ascend are going to try and see if they can grab a few kill points here or there, maybe punish a team around them. Hixes now realizes this was his last chance to get anything out of it. And it would be an absolute miracle if he pops one out of the car from that range. But he's going to fall away, play the rest of the game with his team, who's actually in close proximity of the men. They gotta be a little bit careful because they're lacking a member and they're just under fire from the highest fragging team in the lobby. It ain't looking that good for Wabuki.
That's the one team you don't want to cross paths with, because they've got the freedom to now punish. Handoff, get knocked onto Sparta. And I suppose their man will keep rolling in for now. Oof. But that's painful. Punishment. Absolutely punishment. The rest of the teams having to try and find their way. I really like Ascend's position, but it's all about claiming these kind of kills that they rotate in. They position for that wider wrap on Lepovkas. They'll be okay. Looks like our 6v boys taking the E-rotate. So we're just trying to hit Lumberyard. This could be really punishing. I think we're going to see another game. We're going to have a lot of teams up in the high ground. We can't have a lot of teams up in this high ground if it positions back towards the southeast. A southeast shift again could be horrid.
Could be super rough. Could be super rough, but at least we have 45 alive, right? At least we're not at 62 players in this circle right now. If there was, it'd be even harder to make your way on through. Lipovka is always a bit of a point of contention, always a point where you can try and position yourself to catch rotations, to catch people coming on in. As we'll see, Redline trying to do just that, or go retreat. Losing 3 members just like that. 1, 2, 3, Eternal Fire. Get something going finally. I've been sort of singing their praises for the last year, waiting for them to pop off. They finally find some early game momentum. 8 frags on the board here once they get that flush. And if they're a little careful about it, then they should keep these 3 members up as well.
It's worth noting that Magic number 8, they've doubled up in points now, right? They've only had 8 points so far from placement and from kills. So 8 kills alone, that's doubling up their game. That's kind of where they want to maybe be. They need to get a few more in this last game just to sort of position themselves. I think they'd be disappointed if they didn't qualify last week. It's a team, it's a household name that you'd expect to be in. Back towards the north and the migration store happening. MSJ playing Destruction Derby, Mad Max, so to speak, with Wild. So just sort of teetering their edge around the other side of Mansion now. As the Wild, well, they're all heading towards Lepovka. That means more teams descending into this area.
The dodgy area. It's very easily camped, even in first person, even easier in third person, even more dodgy. You can see Redline has a bit of a setup as well, just waiting to see if they can grab some free kills. Now, Trino Tropica should get rezzed here, but that phase 3 blue zone will start doing considerable damage.
It's not bad.
And that is a zone that shifts out the water nice and early. We're not going to get a crazy phase 4. We're not going to go all the way down to Milter Power. Prison will still be playable. Lumber Mill right in the center. I'm still looking at that northeastern side and I'm feeling like this is going to heat up. I'm seeing a nail-up cruise right into Ascend. I don't think he has any idea. And he's going to have some choice words for them in just a few seconds here.
Oh, wow. Wow. Give me the lottery numbers, Koho. It's already coming. Maybe they didn't get the cars, but they got gifted one now. They baited, waited.
Chris is still on a bison. What is that?
it's a game plan that's working at the moment. He's got a kill, okay? He's 50% of the effective ascend force, and he's with a bison. So leave him be just for the moment. Let's see if he can find some loot.
He's
a little bit
cooking.
further in it. As they needed a car, they got a car, and it was just gifted by Redline.
Yeah, it worked. A plan cannot have been a bad plan if it worked, right? That's how the logic goes. Hands of Hope, they've got knocked. They're getting the res back up. Well, Division, they've been on an absolute cruise. They've been on an absolute journey, and now they're probably losing armor here.
Oh no!
Nowhere to go. Well played by Nicative. Picks that one up. 2 for him, or 2 for his squad, I should say. And just like that, all the traps are showing some effect. Redline not getting away with any of it, but it's both the men and Ascend getting 1 each. And getting a bit of value for their time here.
Oh, value, right? Rewarding points. And man, I'm just literally driving around Caro looking for people. This is mental. This is the danger when you've got such a good point leader as well, right? Because you can just get away with it. You're just happy. 3, so move on out. Well, there they are. Let's take a few shots. So I had to get the connection. That's the MK. Well, points to 0.
And when you're at that point in the game, you hear a single MK shooting at you from outside of the blue. That can sometimes just be a pull-up as well. That can just be a reason to say, hey, you ain't doing that to us, you know? We've gotten ourselves in the position where we get away with punishing whatever we want. And they could have opted for that. They opted for the more conservative approach, get themselves into zone, try and hold some ground, try and figure out what's going on around them, try and sort of sniff out these positions of the ADR players, which isn't an easy thing. They have ignored Hicks's a little bit. They might have just not heard where the suppressed shots came from. That might be an absolute problem for them here.
Good nade. Good spray. He gets a bit of splash damage. I do think it's a suppressor. I've got no idea. You have to get in the car. As the car activates, they're going to know exactly where. But they're already moving their way forward as well. One knocked, and they're kind of giving up the position now as the zone obviously shifting back towards that south side. They have to climb the hill. Will die on the other side, and 180R want nothing to do with that. I think they want to take the fight from the elevation point, and I'll talk about the elevation. Oh, red line to the final player. I'm going to see if he can try and dig out as a solo again. No.
Not this time. No 3 points, no sliding into placements for Redline in this one. They've been okay today. They haven't exceeded expectations, but they also haven't fumbled. They might be okay with how the day ends for them. 11 alive, 31 players, 11 teams. As Ascend have locked horns with Wild Division. Brex has a bit of a low ground Frank, but he needs the support from the rest of the squad here. He's drawing all of the attention, but Pains can get a good nade in from the backside. They're all too short, though. No damage done just yet.
Good nade. Good nade. It's gone right into the middle of the bowl. Nade doesn't quite get the connection. Spray does from Pains. Scrap that. The nade from Chris. Lands perfectly. One division will go down. Actually have to reposition. And they do catch the peak over the top. Great use, though, of util from Ascend and Spin to get the understanding that a team is going to apply pressure from the top.
That is big. That is huge. Instant punish. Instantly another team weakened around them. Now they know about win or die, but they also know that the team at the top is a 3-man. And it's a team you can aggress if you want to. Remember, they were also the team that took one out of Win or Die's roster earlier, so they've done a lot of work for this game already ahead of them. As I say that, Celtic is looking a little undercover here, Mark. He's in that wizard tower, and I don't think Dope have any idea.
No, I think they've sort of toyed the idea. They've tempted with the cars, expecting someone to play peekaboo. He's looking back that way. Celtic from Bushido has the Samurai's discipline to hold. He wants to hold until he hears that door click. Back towards the action though. Tunnel Fire with 9 kills. Someone on the board. They're looking to try and conquer a few more, but only 2 remain. Unfortunately, the nade actually bounces back his way. Code Marco does get the knockdown on the other side, but the repeak will happen. It's going to be down to easy. He's going to try and come over the top. And great spray. It's going to give at least an element of freedom. Nade just a little bit too far away, especially from the util. Might even be able to get the res back on.
There's a good chance they get this. Yeah, there's a good chance they get the full reset here. You can see Sloyd Jacket, he's barely on the minimap. He's trying to come in to make this fight possible, to go for a res, maybe try and confirm it, but he's putting himself in a 1v2 here as well. So this is mighty aggressive from the hands of Hope. Not a whole lot of support. Nabat over the top
Green
helps
up.
a little bit. The nade's beautiful, but the first aid's come through. Eternal Fire survives. That's another good bounce on the code Marco. That should do the trick. Yes, it does. 2v1.
Yeah, but look at the map. They're getting third-party action, though, from the north. And yes, he needed a re-knock. He eventually does get it, but then he wanted potentially to have an element of cover when he sticks to res. So now he can't do it. Nabat has to deal with the push that's coming in from his side. Here comes the peak on the other side. C-swap happens, does catch him. He has to run away from the nade. He wants to duck himself in towards cover. And Eternal Fire, well, they doubled their points up. Arguably a little bit more, but that's going to be the end of him here. No placement points, though. Go, and here come the Blue Zone nades. Fortunate for them, there's a much more area to survive.
Yeah, here comes the clear, and they're still getting the res. Light Jacket does his job on the other side. As
Only one.
we see MSJ versus Ascend on the other side of the map as well. Messy fight on that southeastern side. Third party as well, without Dope doing so much damage into these smokes. Saving Ascend here, so to speak. They could even get back to 3 up here. They could get another res. They could reset this completely and then try to take the fight straight on. They've really been saved here.
Got to do it quickly. The zone 2 seconds away. Have a little bit of distance on the zone. So if they are, and I think they're trying to get the information. One of them needs to go stick that res while they can. Hands of Hope, though, 9 kills. This is a good game for them. They now got to swing in back on the west-hand side. There's Nabat.
How's he still alive?
Can have some. Yeah, it's only one blue zone. They should have lobbed more. They haven't caught him. He's kind of there trickling the util use at the moment. Oh, the peak comes over. No helmet gets deleted. Nabat can't do anything, can't help. They've got to get the registers back in because they've already been knocked before. So this is going to be bad. And with M-Man, with the freedom that we've seen already from them, they are going to continue to apply pressure.
They will. No more util to follow it up. The damage is done by Nabat. He's still dancing. He's still alive in this. Like you said, yes, blue's on, but nothing else to follow it up. And he's costing them so much time here. They can't really move on this. They can't really make this work. The circle's closing on in as well. Then we might even see more third parties on the board if this continues to take much, much longer. Now, finally, a nade from Shro seals the deal. The man's been really putting in the work for the men. But again, it's a little late, but because they've just have a solo on their north, they're probably not getting punished here.
Shro, in not including this game, is on 16 kills. 20 kills so far. Is insane. I'm pretty sure he's on 4. But anyway, 16 kills for a day. He's on fire, mate. On fire. I do like this end zone. Once you're up in towards Lumberyard, it's going to actually allow some elements of maybe slowing it down. We'll have to wait and see. There seems to be a lot more pockets of fight. TVX. Tuxley. Trying to expect which door to come through. Comes through the main door. Goes for 1. Oh, drop shots in a second. How did he get away? He's on 1 HP. He's going to try and deny another push through. And I think he's second guessing how the hell did he get away with that. That was insane.
What? That was so clean.
Insane.
That was so
GG's.
perfect. That was like bullet per bullet perfection. What was that? We never see this in PUBG. It's so hard to do that accurately. You don't know what kind of vests you're dealing with. You don't know if they're 75 or 100 HP. We almost never see this. That was nice.
I think that the table kept him alive because the spray came down towards him. He was just hitting the table and he just didn't readjust. He hit a couple of those legs, but he had the cover. Great first initial knock. Great peek. He was covering the window and the door. Do you know what? GG's. On the other side of things, unfortunately, he's got to run out towards this Lynx that's sitting on this side here with win or die and get away with it slightly. Payne sneaking his way up as it's Chris jumped in towards the building. So they're looking to try and close out that fight. Hands off, though, have been backing away, slowly being chased, hounded down by M-Man. There's another knock. Can someone stop the push from this team? Hopefully, they are down to their final player.
Yeah, and it's not looking bad here for Hands of Hope. It's just small spot to deal with. He's looking. Trying to maneuver around the rocks to his best ability. I think that is still a 1v3 though for him. We have Top Chick and Slow Jacket. Might just be the two of them. Might have hallucinated a third member there that isn't actually in existence. Yeah, it is a 1v2. It is doable for the Hands of Hope. It is also doable for Mossbot here. If he finds the right timing, finds the right angle, they have to be extremely careful about how they handle this.
Yeah, he hasn't got any util really on his side, but I think he's got the train to his advantage, right? So if he can keep his head down, I think they've seen him now. They've denied the shots out, and that was an interesting leap of faith, should we say, as Down to that final player. He's going to use the smoke now to try and back away, but I think Sloy's picked him up as well. So just be cautious. Back on the other side of things, so Payne's got the knock on Rocks, but since he was there to ensure he couldn't get much more. And Bricks, and it's Chris now pushing away from the compound, trying to keep Payne's alive.
Trying to keep Payne's alive, trying to not get himself knocked in the process though, and there's the nade from Chris. Cleans it up, 5 for him this game. He hasn't quite been able to keep up with Shro, but he's outpaced them in this one. Big game from Ascend coming out in the last one here. They've started hot and then been extremely quiet for 2, and now they're kind of coming back into it. Just fragging out. As we have a ton of solos here, Mark.
This is a TPP standoff. I see you, you see me. I'm not moving, you're not moving. We are going to hold off. Don't shoot each other. Let everyone else fight, and maybe we get top 4.
I wonder if they know. I wonder if they both know. You might be right.
Without dope, 100% knows, I think. But maybe not
Yeah,
here. Maybe not with our drop sock king.
He has a nade, so he could try and deal with it if he did have the information. Mossboard is doing his best job, though, to make that 1v2 work, though, and he's found the first. He's going to get that confirmed as well. Make it a 1v1, and then I think we're looking at 5 solos in Ascend.
Insane.
That's a wild last game.
Shro's on 1, so that's 17 kills though from one day. Insane. This team is on fire. I love how he's moving so much. The level 3 vest is going to essentially play into fact. The handover have gone completely silent now. It's top refusing now to move, give away any sort of cues, but unfortunately the zone's going to force it. So double solos and yeah, without dope new. There we go, top 5. Now we can move towards the other side, try and find a little bit of cover as close as you can, get to that sort of wooden wall. Ascend have got the numbers. They're the only team with the numbers in late game. Hopefully they can close this one out.
There's a good chance Brex finds top tick here in a second. I'm not sure how the smoke is rendering for him, because that is making it impossible for me to see it. But I have a question mark. There is a solo on that northwestern edge that we haven't talked about at all. Can you pronounce that name for me real quick?
I saw a chat asking about this one. This is a super sneaky No. You?
You tried. All right.
Effort. A for effort.
Yeah. That's a wild one. That's a keyboard slam. I rolled my face around the left side of my keyboard. And
I tried 4 other names and I didn't get one, so I just hit my keyboard and that's the one that got accepted, so we're in.
It's a wild one. Mossboard going for Chris play, but nobody around to hop in that car in front of him, unfortunately. He's gonna try and wait that out. Top chick waiting as long as possible here. He's going to be the first one to move Mark, and there's a good chance Ascend spots him. I don't think anybody else is really under a ton of pressure, but Mossboard is starting to make the move, and he's not moving in, he's actually moving towards guy. And that's his end.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
So,
got it.
Final circle. Ascend should, I suppose, arguably have the kill feed down. There's a bit of chaos though when they got caught in between the kind of that win or die and trying to push towards the south. So I think they've got a good idea that they've got some high numbers here. But final 4, it's a 3 versus 1 versus 1 versus 1. Don't count the solos out. Unfortunately for them, they're all on the south to southwest side. A lumberyard ending. I think the main big difference for me, the big takeaway here is in an FPP format, Ascend might have pushed very much heavily around the sort of north side, getting away with it, but they're going to be so careful of those ridges. There's so many dips that a individual solo player could sit behind and try and pick apart, and the keyboard smash player could be that guy.
Yeah, you're playing that extra bit careful, right? They've gotten a bit of info now. They know Top Chick was on the south fighting earlier, and they know that the Shidijev guy was just getting a kill on the north. So they know 2 of the 3 players. They might have not kept perfect track on where Skenin is, but they should have a pretty good idea that there's nobody really close, and they're just going to let a lot of these solos trickle in on each other and avoid stepping on as many landmines or as many snakes as they can here. It's going to take a while. Now 1 spotted. The keyboard smash probably it's not going to make it into zone, and there's Top Chick spotted as well.
Well, Prix does find 1, right? So He's not in zone. He's got to work their way in. What worries me is the send kind of go full send here and get caught. The individual solos could get pieced apart. Is Chris in, I suppose, the critical location for the team? He's holding that sort of back line, holding the angles. Is Brexwell looking to try and deliver a nade, but not finding the nade in the handoff. That's forced him to move at least.
Another 26 seconds. We're going to go to the star here. Undoubtedly so. And Ascend will have the most control. It's Chris is still rocking a PP Bison.
It's working. It's working. They're top 4. Oh, he actually got down. Brex put him down to 1 shot, and then the keyboard smash finishes off the hard work. Doesn't get rid of that nade anyway, just as a confirmation, but it is a 3 versus 2, and Ascend should now surely have numbers punched. Good nades. The antics though. Oh, it just bounces off the top of that box. Doesn't find half a centimetre back the other way. Might have landed right on his feet. And phase number 9, 3 versus 1 versus 1. Ko, you've got to put your money on Ascend now, right?
You do have to, but they also just heard that Lynx ring out, right? They know that they have to be careful. Every single peek can get instantly punished. That gun is absolutely mental. So they gotta be and stay that extra bit careful. Brex smoking himself out a bit, trying to delay, trying to move around, maybe get a bit of aggressive plays going.
Get the Lynx.
But there it is, 5 more bullets. It's not a lot, but with the damage that gun does, that can easily destroy Ascend's game.
Really interesting to see if he has to move first or Brex does. He popped the smokes, you try and deny without a dope. Without a dope going underneath the radar between the centre. Really good play. Does get caught. It's Chris does go for the peak though. Looks like Brex should finish off. No, it's actually Chris with the Bison. And then they close it out. It's a winner chicken dinner. Bison to the victory. 11 kills, a 21-point game, and Team Ascend win it despite the Bison have from its Chris. Well, I'm really interested to see if he continues with that sort of meta gameplay that he found tomorrow.
Despite or because? Unclear at this point. He's been fragging out. He had a 6 or 7 at the end there. He's been fragging out with that game, and a lot of that came from some early aggression with that Bison and a bit of it from nades and stuff. But Ascend had come back into this. There was a lot of people doubting. There was a lot of people questioning what was going on with them, and now they've shown that they can come to play. Just sort of throwing the playbook out the window, right? They go for an early EP, they just hide on out for a car, they get the car, and they start flying in everywhere and killing everyone. So unconventional, but it does work out for them, and it's nice to see them back towards the top.
It's the best way to sum up though, guys from Ascent. It's Chris bringing in the M24 now, and now he's looking at the golden gun being the Bison. I wonder if that will continue. But it's a win. It's a win. It's 10 additional points. They've got the kills and the voids as well, and a saviour game, as we said before at the very beginning of this one, Karo. For me, this is all about, like, if you've not made the big, super competitive FPP format, you're not in the lands, you need to start capitalizing the money. And Ascend, unfortunately, one of those teams. But actually, after that performance in the last game, they're looking pretty strong. Another 4 games for them. Let's see if they can continue to climb that leaderboard.
Yeah, they have closed the gap. They have put themselves amongst the top pack now. And then, other than that in that game, Eternal Fire, signs of life, you can say.
Yeah.
They don't get away with it in the end. They do get cleaned up. But they put up a really, really big stand. I think it's just the 9 frags that they were getting away with, but that is by far the best game they've played so far. I think they had 8 points before this, so like you said, more than doubling up. And this one, oh, it's so clean. So nice. Like you said, the table saves them a bit, right? But the transfer was perfect.
Yeah, it was. I think it did. That level 3 vest is pretty much gone at that point. M-Man, we've got to give him a big shout as well. Kind of the freedom. They can do what they want to do right now, right? They can kind of tease other teams. They can run them down. We saw them driving huge amounts at the end as well. So, good play. Good ending. When they win a chicken dinner, send up. So you do claim that one. So I do like that one. I do like the game. I kind of do like the Lumberyard ending as well. I thought it was a bit chaotic, but it did calm out a little bit. And obviously then it became sort of king of the hill. I'm surprised we had a lot of solos remaining though at the end.
You never really see that, do you? I think that was, what was it, 5 solos or 6 solos at the end there? I think it was 6 teams, 5 solos. That's a rare occurrence. That's not something you see. A lot of the times you'll see teams taking control and playing off of each other and managing to stay clean. But in that last game, no one stayed clean anywhere, right? Ascend, the only team that gets in there with a 3-man, and even they lose not sure if it was Paint. I think it was Kiliakai quite early, and basically their first fight of the game, they lose Kiliakai. So, bit of an odd one. Maybe it's just the terrain, right? There's so many places to hide. There's so many angles you have to worry about. We saw Hands of Hope playing around these rocks, and it's so hard to maneuver around if you're the other team. So, the players do their jobs as solos and try to make it hard, but I wish I would have seen a bit more Lynx there towards the end. I feel like he didn't really give it a chance. He was popping up shots with the AUG. He didn't really trust the Lynx to do the job.
Keyboard smash. Don't play Lynx, mate. Come on. Let's talk util though. We are waiting for the leaderboard to update, just to let you guys know. But I do want to talk about util because again, from that first week, I think it became very apparent very quickly about how effective it was. And I can still see this kind of trend being the case. We did see a couple of teams short on the blue zone nades. We would expect two to sort of go in, especially in that tower play at the very, very end with Nabat, but didn't quite work out. And again on the Miramar. But I still feel like we are seeing that less ammo, more util is winning fights.
Yes, but not as much as you would think. I think you see some of these fights completely dominated by util, and then you see a lot of fights that look like just the average fight that you see in PUBG Esports, right? It gets opened up by a bit of util, and then a play comes in. I think there's one thing that's majorly different, and that is in first person, if you get naded or flashed, you don't hear anything anymore, right? And you also see very little. In third person, you don't hear anything anymore, but you might still see everything that's relevant to you, so that doesn't really matter as much. So that changes the fight quite materially, I feel like, and that means people can go for these plays sometimes, or go for plays and get punished because the other player is still ready for it. But then we've seen some fights today as well. I remembered like an early fight where I think it was in the first game, Ascent versus Eternal Fire, where they catch out two of players completely off guard because of that util and that pressure coming in from one side, and Chris just rocks up on the other. So in theory, you feel like it should be very different, and then in practice, it still feels rather similar to me.
I love that we're still seeing some players quite missing. They haven't quite got the angles down, especially when it comes down to the nades or the arc, should we say. Look, obviously, we've got best of fours done for today, guys. So obviously, we're going to wait for the leaderboard. We're going to close off, but we're going to remind you guys actually what we've got coming up. We'll be back tomorrow, right? And then we've got another 4 maps, another individual map. We're going to kick things back on Miramar, ending on Erangel. We've got a bit of a Taego, a bit of a Rondo. Every card's a wild map. I think there's a lot of takeaways, though, Kyle, for some of these teams. Some teams really performed on one map and not the other. And with only 4 games remaining, and more importantly, a team running away with a large amount of points, I think the cutoff might be really tight because we are looking for that top 8, right? So, obviously, you've got a huge depth of knowledge. Like for teams that kind of lower down that leaderboard, like I think, well, let's bring up the leaderboard. Let's talk about it because there is a lot of actually opportunity for some of these teams to go through. I'm worried though. We know Amanda smashed it, 61 points. That's hugely impressive. Ascend had a saving game, but I do worry when we get around that sort of lower section of the table, we're seeing these teams now sort of merge together. Look
at 15th with 13 points, and then third has 29. That is one game. That's not even a big game, right? That's a 6-kill win, right? There is essentially no gap between third and 15th, and all of these teams are going to be battling it out tomorrow. As I'll say this again, yes, we're looking at who wins the tournament, right? But we are way more looking at who gets top 8 because they get to play the $20,000 PUBG Masters right on after. So top 8 is where you want to be, and nobody is safe except for the men. And man, they're going to be in that top 8. The other 7 slots are still to be played for, and it's literally the other 15 teams that can easily make it in there tomorrow. Bushido, one game that they win, they're up in the top 8. So it is incredibly contested. It is super tight. And if M-Men keep racking up the points tomorrow, Mark, then it's going to be like, it's going to stay tight until the last game.
And that's the problem. I think that's what you guys don't kind of appreciate is that if they do, it's going to be insane. Red Dawn obviously very, very limited though on the kills, but getting the placement. Let's remind everyone obviously what we got here. So week 1 done. That was last time, right, guys? That's what felt like moons ago. But week 2, we've done our scrims. We've taken our top teams through that have qualified to our best of 8. We've brought some invited teams that were some of the invited teams that didn't qualify on week number 1. So I think week 2 is going to be a lot more interesting for me personally. And we're fighting for that top 8. These are the 8 teams that already have gone through in week 1. They've qualified from VP all the way down to foot in the wonderful order that we are actually seeing from the production team. So that's a lot of firepower out of a lobby, right? We saw Nixie in chat in the Rondo saying, actually, that's our drop spot. It doesn't even matter if we're not in the lobby. No one's going there. Absolutely love it. So look, we've still got 4 games to play for, right? But you're right. It has to be explosive. You can't allow M-Man to run away with these games because it is going to get difficult whenever we go down to the end. Any closing statements for you, Caro, after this first 4?
It's perfect for tomorrow. It is 15 teams fighting for 7 slots. It's going to get super competitive. It's going to stay super tight. No one's out of the runnings just yet. And I can't wait. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Same time, same place. 4 more games. And we're going to close out the second PUBG Players Cup.